Hi, I'm the ballsy badass Shotzi Blackheart, and you're watching True Hill Heat.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, and we are back again with another year-end tier list. This time we are breaking down and ranking every single member of the WWE roster based on their 2025 work as only we can. And to do that, this time for our third, I think this is the third and final tier list that we're doing for the year end. I am joined by my esteemed colleague, my co-host over on the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. He is known as the True Draw himself. Josh, how are you feeling?
I am feeling great. As far as this list, man, it's gonna be something. Man, I saw all them people. I was like, oh boy.
There's a lot of people that we have to go through. I actually started before we started recording because it would have been like a 5-hour list that we would have had to do if we broke down and talked about every single person listed, because we are, for the first time, we're not just doing the WWE specifically, because WWE did a lot of things in 2025, Josh. They started the partnership with TNA Wrestling in January. Then in February, they made the announcement that they were acquiring AAA, the Mexican promotion. So we got stars from TNA, stars from AAA listed on our tier list this year. We also have those who were involved in all the other brands that are under WWE. That includes WWE Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Evolve, LFG, and WWE ID. So, yeah, it's a lot of people. So strap up, get ready, buckle your seatbelts, because we're going to go on this ride and break down everybody's 2025, see where they're ranked. We're going to give you a look at our tier list shortly. But if you haven't already, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. You can drop a thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, you can hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off if you're watching us on our premiere. You can sound off in the live chat, but most of all, we want to hear your comments. We want to hear what you think, what we got wrong, what we got right on our tier list. We want to hear from you in the comments down below and keep the conversation going on what you thought about the entire WWE roster for 2025. But Josh, you did this last year with me. Are you ready? Are you ready for this year, where we have an even more daunting task than we did last year?
I got no choice but to be ready.
You signed up and now you're here. But let's get to it. Let's show the folks at home our tier list here. So you see here, these are our tiers. So we got some returning favorite tiers that we did on last year's WWE 2024 tier list. We got our top tier, which is the same from last year, WrestleMania headliners. So these are the individuals who had the very best 2025. These are your wrestler of the year candidates. These are the people who had the best matches, who had the biggest moments of the year. They are in the upper echelon, the S tier of WWE's roster. Then we have a new one. Says I switched it up on our New Japan tier list, making the main event section that we usually do, that we did on our AEW tier list. I made it into the Lion Mark Pride. For WWE, I made it something a little bit different as well. Moment makers and merchants. These are the people that had great years, not the tippy top, the greatest years, but they had great years. They were prominent on WWE television, and they created a lot of moments to the point of being moment merchants. Then we have our all-stars. These are the individuals who had very good years, but not quite the top two tiers of being the best that WWE had to offer. Then we got something new that we added. We did this. I think we added this on last year's tier list, but deserved better. These are those who were really good, but probably deserved more opportunities, deserved better booking throughout the year. Then we have the mid card. So these are just people who have fine, solid years for themselves. They have a role on television, but not necessarily the best of the best, if you know what I'm saying. Then we have mid. These are the individuals who had very mid years. They were here, they were not here. They were here, but we don't really remember them all that well. That is what being mid is all about. And now we got the bottom tiers, which we've already started filling up because this roster tier list that we have this year is extensive. So you'll see it just from who we already have listed here, why we have already put these people up without, you going through the motions as we usually do. But we have our non-wrestlers. So I just put all the non-wrestlers into this section already. Starting at the top, you got Corey Graves. You got Raw General Manager Adam Pearce. You got former WWE Champion Big E. You got NXT commentator Booker T and LFG coach. You got Alicia Taylor, who is the ring announcer. You got NXT GM Ava. You got Kathy Kelly, backstage interviewer. Got another backstage interviewer and Byron Saxton. You have the Dudley Boys, where Bubba Ray was most used as an LFG coach and Devon Dudley as a backstage personnel. They did have one match this year over in TNA, but they're pretty much non-wrestlers at this point. You got Funaki, who works with a lot of the Japanese talent. You got backstage interviewer Jackie Redmond, backstage personnel Hurricane Helms, backstage personnel Jason Jordan, backstage personnel Jeremy Borash, who also was the commentator on LFG. You got AAA commentator John Brashaw Lakefield. You got Jessica Carr, the referee, cricket referee, if you ask Becky Lynch. Joe Tessitore, who does commentary on Raw and SmackDown. You got Kelly Kincaid, who's a backstage interviewer on NXT. Jesse the Body Ventura, who provided analysis, I guess you can call it, for Saturday night's main event. Matt Bloom, who is the head trainer over at the Performance Center. Michael Cole, the head commentator for WWE. Megan Morant, who I believe is a backstage commentator, backstage interviewer, and I think she's done ring announcing. Ring announcer Lillian Garcia was back with the company this year. Mike Rome is another ring announcer for NXT. Nick Khan, of course, the president of WWE, SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis, Sam Roberts, who does the pre-show analysis, Peter Rosenberg, who also does pre-show analysis and now is the commentator for WWE Evolve. You got Terry Taylor, you got who's a backstage personnel and works on LFG. Robert Roode, who's a backstage personnel, and we got LFG coaches The Undertaker and Michelle McCool. Then we got Wade Barrett, a color commentator on SmackDown. We got Vic Joseph, lead commentator on NXT. And we got Stephanie McMahon. So that is the non-wrestler section. I'm sure we will probably add maybe one or two more people to that section, but I wanted to get all that done so you don't waste too much time of this video. And then we got a new section we have here, Josh. Do you work here? These are people that we have seen that are on this tier list, but we don't know what their current employment status really is. So we have Ariana Bennett, who is listed here as Evolve in NXT, but I barely even seen her. Braxton Cole, who I think recently debuted on Evolve, but do you even work here? Chris Island, who was a part of LFG seasons 1 and 2, but I don't know what they're going to do with him now since he didn't win either season. Draco Knox, who is, I believe, a WWE ID signing. So he's worked with Evolve in NXT, but unless you were a prominent force on like Evolve or even on Evolve, I'm gonna put you in do you work here. Same with Brinley Reese, who was featured on Evolve earlier this year, but hasn't been featured in quite some time. Maurice, who is listed here as Raw and SmackDown, but I haven't seen her on WWE television in years. Mickey James, who was a part of season 1 of LFG, but was let go and not part of season 2. So does she even work here? Andrade, who was signed with WWE, released in September. He made his return to AEW in October. Then WWE sent a cease and desist to AEW, and it was revealed that Andrade was under a 1-year worldwide non-compete clause. But recently, WWE gave Andrade clearance to perform in Puerto Rico for WWC, as well as in New York City for House of Glory. So does he work here? We don't know. And Tamina is probably one of the biggest mysteries in all of wrestling. Does she even work for WWE still? Then we have niggas always hurt or not here. We have Adriana Rizzo, who was a part of the D'Angelo family, who hasn't been seen since the whole falling out of the D'Angelo family earlier this year. We got Malik Blade, who was injured for quite some time. He recently made his return to Evolve, but he wasn't here for most of the year. And then we got, I forgot to get his tag team partner, so we'll get that shortly. We got contract not renewed. We got Akam of Authors of Pain. I'm going to go just scroll down here, see if I can see Rizza. Yeah, there's Rizar. So we'll add Rizar with them because both men were let go. I believe this was this last year they were let go, or was it earlier this year?
I think it was last year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like last year they were let go. So I don't even know why they're listed here, but they were listed here. So we got to put them in contract not renewed because they were released from the company. Blake Howard, I don't know who you are. I don't know if you have a job. I'm going to put you in non-wrestler just in case you still work for the company. But I do know BJ Ray of LFG fame has been released from the company. Carlito was released from the company in June when his contract wasn't renewed. Cora Jade was released in May. Carmella, her contract was not renewed and she was let go from the company. Cedric Alexander was released in February. Danny Palmer was a part of those May releases. Same with Dakota Kai and Eddie Thorpe. Idris Anofe had his contract not renewed earlier this year. Duke Hudson was a part of the February releases. Shanti the Adonis had his contract not renewed. Braun Strowman was a part of the May releases. Lextra Lopez was a part of, I believe, the February releases. Then Blair Davenport was a part of the May releases. Javier Bernal was also a part of those releases. February releases for Giovanni Vinci. May release for Gigi Dolan. Hayes Jameson was a part of some recent developmental releases. She was a part of LFG season 2. Then you had Isla Dawn, who was a part of I believe that was the February releases. Jamar Hampton, who was a part of LFG and Evolve. He was let go recently. Jakara Jackson was a part of those May releases. Jasmine Nix had a very weird falling out with WWE where she was a part of Fatal Influence, then got attacked one day, and then she was released. Jin Tala was also another developmental release. Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers, were released in February. Mark Coffey, Joe Coffey, and we might as well try to find Wolfgang here because the entire group of Gallus was let go, I believe, a part of those May releases, which was a big dump of talent that they released in May. I think it was like 16, 17 wrestlers that they released in May. And yeah, yes, those Gallus boys were a part of that. So we might as well add Wolfgang to the group as well. Then we have Karrion Kross, who of course was let go. We got to add Scarlett. See, I'm getting all these. I'm like remembering. Oh yeah, this person was also let go. Riley Osborne was a part of those May releases as well. So we got to add him to the list. But we're gonna also find Scarlett, who is also part of the contract not being renewed for Karrion Kross. So we'll add where's Scarlett at? Where's the S's at? Scarlett is over here. The beautiful Scarlett was her contract not renewed. She never even got her contract negotiated because Karrion Kross was taking so much time that they basically said, oh, we're not even going to negotiate your wife.
Yeah.
Forget you, man.
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. I think they just didn't want her because they did that the first time. So I think they use that as a scapegoat, but they didn't even want her, unfortunately.
Lance Anoa'i was let go during developmental releases. Paul Ellering was a part of those. He was a part of those February releases. Aura Mensa was another May release. Sonya Deville in February. Stevie Turner was the developmental release. Shotzi Blackheart was a part of those May releases. And Masha Slamovich might have had one of the more controversial falling outs with TNA, part of this WWE umbrella that we're in here. She was basically the Knockouts World Champion. She lost the title to JC Jane. Then it was revealed that she had domestic violence history with her ex-boyfriend Akira, who was a part of GCW and other Japanese promotions around the world. And that whole scandal led to Masha being basically released from TNA. So she is in contract not renewed as well. Any thoughts on anybody we've mentioned, contract not renewed or non-wrestler or anything else?
No, I mean, it's pretty much accurate because it's a lot of people that some people I'm like, oh, this person works here. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't watch Evolve. I'm not really familiar with Evolve. So that's going to be a little, that's going to be your field, I would say, when those guys come up, because I have absolutely no clue. That's all I'll say.
Fair. All right, we're going to get started here. We're going to start with the A's, I guess. We're going to do these in alphabetical order this year. And we're starting off with AJ Lee, who made a return to WWE after a 10-year hiatus in September, helping out her husband CM Punk against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, picking up the victory at WrestlePalooza. Her return was one of the bigger moments of the year. WWE this past weekend, ranked at the time of this recording, ranked their best moments of 2025, and AJ Lee's return ranked at number 5. So top 5 WWE moment of the year, her return, getting the win at WrestlePalooza. She once again returned and distracted Becky Lynch, costing her the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship in November before being the one who gained the winning fall for her team in the Women's War Games. So where we got AJ Lee?
And what tiers? Let me see.
Yeah.
It's funny because I almost want to say All-Star because or something high because she's been used prominently. Like she's had like 2 programs and they kind of been used prominently, to be honest with you. So
that seems fair. That seems fair for AJ. I would say like moment maker, but maybe if she was here to create more moment or used on a more consistent basis, we could put her up there. But I would say putting her at All-Star is fair. It's fair for the year, the abbreviated year that she had in 2025.
Yeah.
Then we got a fellow AJ Styles. AJ Styles, recently he won the World Tag Team Championships. We will remember that AJ made his return earlier in the year ahead of WrestleMania. he looked like he was starting a program with Braun Breaker for a while over the Intercontinental Championship, but then things changed course. He would eventually go up against Logan Paul at WrestleMania 41, losing that matchup. From there, he was kind of like not the most consistently used performer on the roster. He would fight himself in like different feuds, but wouldn't be regularly featured on the main programming. He had the nice little program with Dominic Mysterio, where it went a little bit longer than it probably was supposed to due to Dom getting injured, but it eventually paid off at SummerSlam where he faced Dom for the Intercontinental Championship. He came up short there, but then we had the probably his best matchup of the year and best matchup in a couple of years, and probably since the Cody match last year. AJ Styles and John Cena at Crown Jewel is a bona fide WWE Match of the Year candidate. And then Styles and Dragon Lee won the World Tag Team Championships from the Judgment Day and have been very solid tag team champions over on Raw since then. So where are we putting AJ Styles?
Whew. I kind of want to lean into deserves better, but I think this is kind of as good as you get with AJ, to be honest with you. So it's like, as a fan, as a AJ Styles fan, I personally want to say deserves better, but he's kind of at where he's going to be at. So it's like I don't have any high hopes of anything significant moving forward. He has been doing well with Dragon Lee. I think him and Dragon Lee have done great work together. But again, it was a thrown-in tag team. Because even the match from Saturday, it was a fun matchup. We only got 5 minutes. You only give AJ 5 minutes? Like, that's crazy to me.
So where he's gonna go? Deserves better?
You know what? I'll put deserves better.
Okay. That's fair. AJ Styles is one of the greatest wrestlers of his generation. So for him to be kind of shifted into a mid-card role when he still is like 1 year away from retiring, you would want to get more out of him as like a main event top star. So I can understand deserves better. Akira Tozawa won't even go into mid. Like I'm gonna do this a lot. I'm gonna do this a lot throughout this whole tier list. If I don't even want to care to tell about their year or try to remember their year, they're just gonna go in mid. I will fire mid.
Definitely mid.
Mid.
Like, yeah. You'll take care of that because I'm just like,
Mid.
Then we got partner and she been doing nothing.
Nothing at all. Then we got Aleister Black, who made his return in April to WWE following WrestleMania. He was in a short program with The Miz and Carmelo Hayes over on SmackDown for a while. Then they decided to change course. He got into a whole big issue with R-Truth that transitioned him into a rivalry with Damian Priest, which he is still feuding with to this day. That rivalry started in July and is still going on, and we're heading into 2026. But the rivalry has seen him align with his wife, Zelina Vega. So I will slide Zelina up here as well so we can rank both of them at the same time. Zelina Vega had a more interesting year as she became a champion, a singles champion for the first time in WWE. She won the WWE Women's United States Championship from Chelsea Green, our first singles title. However, that reign did not go too well. It was a fairly forgettable reign where she wasn't featured on television too much, which led to her eventually dropping the title to Julia in, I believe this was in the summer. And then of course, a few months later, she would align with Aleister Black, where the married couple have made up the team that I affectionately called the Black Family. So the Black Family, where are they going?
This was kind of interesting because I don't know. Like, I kind of want to say mid because there's a lot of Aleister Black that I haven't liked since him being at WWE. I think he's had some nice matches, but as far as like storylines or anything prominent, it's been pretty much nothing. Like even him being lined up with his wife. I mean, that's cool. Like he gets to work with his wife, but then like you're still in this feud with Damian Priest. Like, like like let's not forget. And he came back. Who he's facing? He was facing the Miz. Like that was his first like opponent or like first like I want to say feud, but like his first program was the Miz. And then now you've been stuck in this vortex with Damian Priest that hasn't really done nothing hasn't done nothing for either guy. So it's like, oh, and then Zelina. I mean, you already know how I feel about Zelina. Like she won a title, I get it, but she didn't have good matches. It's been rough watching her. I'll let you give this call because
I can understand the quality. The quality is probably mid, but I think the push is mid card. So
mid-card. That's fair.
I think that's where they belong. They belong in
mid-card.
the mid card.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Because it's like they're being shown, they're being showcased, but then it's like, it's a weird spot. Like I don't know. Like as much as people thought like big things would happen, it just hasn't. Like he's being shown more, but then it's like, all right, cool. What's next? And it's like, oh, we'll put you Damian Priest. Oh, again? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's the right spot for them in mid card. Then we got Alex Shelley, and we might as well throw up Chris Sabian as well. The Motor City Machine Guns, who have been a big part of the SmackDown Tag Team division, which the first half of the year, the SmackDown Tag Team division was on the up. They had that matchup with the DIY at the Royal Rumble where the Street Profits returned, cost them the matchup. Then they were involved in the tag team match. Street Profits become the tag team champions before WrestleMania. Then they have that instant classic TLC matchup with the Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and the Street Profits, a WWE Match of the Year candidate that really kind of put the spotlight bigger on the SmackDown Tag Team division. And they were a part of multiple good to great matches with the tag teams. They were also a part of that great TLC matchup at SummerSlam. The second half of the year has seen them used a little less often. They have been featured. They had the traditional Survivor Series elimination matchup as they teamed with Sami Zayn, Rey Fenix, and Shinsuke Nakamura against the MFTs. But other than that, it hasn't been as much focus on the Motor City Machine Guns or the SmackDown Tag Team division for that part for the second half of 2025. But where are we putting the Motor City Machine Guns?
I would probably say this is more of a personal bias thing. I'll probably say deserve better just because, Motor City Machine Guns was brought there to make the tag team division, not only step up, but to bring them to another level. And even though we've had some nice performances, like you mentioned, the TLC matches, that the TLC match, and then they had the other one in summer. They had the Royal Rumble, which I wasn't in favor. I didn't like the match as much, but for the time that they had, I thought they did what they were supposed to do. But me personally, I think probably deserves better. I think the overall tag team division deserves better, to be fair. But you got these two guys. You got these guys from away from AEW when it was reported that AEW was getting them, and then you swept them away. So I just expected better.
I agree with you. I just expected them to always have some type of role, and they really haven't. Like the whole second half of the year have just been non-existent in regards to tag team programs. They've been more focused on the Wyatt Six versus the MFTs, and that's just stupid. And then we got We'll put these two together as well. We got Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. The first half of the year was both women making their return in the Royal Rumble match. Alexa Bliss getting probably the loudest pop of anybody in that Royal Rumble match, the Women's Royal Rumble, making a return at number 21, while Charlotte Flair made a return at number 27 after weeks of vignettes hyping up her return. She came, she won that Women's Royal Rumble matchup. Alexa Bliss went on to lose, but she was in the Elimination Chamber matchup. She came up short there and wasn't featured on television for a couple of months after that. Meanwhile, Charlotte Flair put on probably the most cringeworthy or favorite for a lot of people program of the WrestleMania build up as her and Tiffany Stratton shoot on each other and basically broke kayfabe a few times in the lead up. It led to Charlotte Flair losing to Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. She had a whole crisis of confidence when she made her return, but it was Alexa Bliss who put out the olive branch to basically be Charlotte's friend. That Charlotte hasn't had a lot of friends in her lifetime, but Alexa wanted to be that for her. The two women would go at it a few times. They would cost each other the Money in the Bank qualifying matchup. They would eventually team up together ahead of Evolution to become a part of a four-way matchup for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And I really feel like that Evolution matchup is the turning point for this whole team, where the crowd just got behind both of them, got behind Charlotte for the first time in a few years. And that was a turning point and led to Bliss and Flair winning the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam in a good moment from that show. They would defend the titles for a few months following that, eventually losing the titles to the Kabuki Warriors in November, but they would get their win back against the Kabuki Warriors when they were a part of the winning team in the Women's War Games at Survivor Series. So where are we putting Charlotte and Alexa?
I kind of want to put them in All-Star just because I thought the pairing for them was really good. Charlotte obviously the beginning of the year, she won the Royal Rumble, which I think because of Jey Uso winning, people forget that Charlotte won and people really don't talk about it. But then, the whole thing that happened with Tiffany and Charlotte, I mean, it was entertaining for all the wrong reasons, and then we got what we got at Mania. It wasn't the worst match, but you could tell you could tell that ship sailed between the two ladies, unfortunately. And then once Bliss paired up with Charlotte, it actually worked. Charlotte got a character. She actually finally got a character after all these years, where it's just not just Charlotte Flair, trying to be like her dad a little bit. But then also, I mean, I thought them working as a tag team was good. And I thought they should have probably had the tag titles a little bit longer. But I think that between the two, I think it's a good pairing.
Yeah, they've been a good, solid addition to the women's tag team championship scene, and put some more star power to that division. So can't complain at all. Then we got Andre Chase, mid.
I forgot he was still there.
No, he's been on NXT. He just mainly is a manager at this point for his Chase U young boys. Angel and Berto. I'm gonna try to find Berto here. There we go. There's Berto. They are listed as SmackDown stars, but they mostly got their most shine in AAA, where they won the AAA Tag Team Championships earlier in the summer. They will lose the titles to the Psycho Circus of Psycho Clown and Pagano. But yeah, I mean, they won the AAA Tag Team Championships. They were able to defend it on WWE television and put some shine on the whole acquiring of AAA, but not much as in regards to WWE. So mid.
I would probably say mid.
Winning a title.
Yeah, I would say mid, just because if they were doing more in AAA, then I would have had them higher, honestly. But every time they shown up to get they on AAA, I feel like they're a way better fit for that than WWE programming, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that just are like, dude, like y'all should just put them in AAA full time. And yeah, Berto and Angel, the LWO, those are like the acts that I'm like, yeah, you guys should just put them in AAA for good. Apollo Cruz, I'm skipping to you. You were not here, nigga. You were hurt the whole year.
He
Then we
was
got
hurt. Like, he was hurt because I don't know. Because
yeah, he was hurt. He got hurt. He got injured in January.
I forgot he was there. They did that one. They did that vignette for him, and like never seen him again.
Yeah, he got injured in like January. Then we got the Street Profits, who started off the year hot. They made their return at the Royal Rumble with this new kind of attitude. But of course, WWE pussyfooted around them actually turning heel. They did not turn heel because they learned No, I think they were intending to turn them heel, but the Street Profits are unheel turnable. It seems the last 2 years they tried to turn them heel, and the fans just said, no, we like these guys. And so they just turned more babyface afterwards. They changed up their song, which was a bad move in my opinion, but they did win the tag team championships in Italy from DIY in March. They would go on to defend those titles in a match of the year candidate against DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns in the aforementioned TLC on the SmackDown after WrestleMania. They would hold on to the titles until they ran into the Wyatt Six in the summer. The Wyatt Six would win the championships from the Street Profits, but the Street Profits were also part of that banger TLC matchup, multi-man 6-team TLC match at SummerSlam. However, they lost a rematch against the Wyatt Six at night at Clash in Paris, and they have not been seen on WWE television since then. So, where are we putting the Street Profits?
I'm gonna put them deserves better. Just because it feels like they use them sporadically, not only sporadically, but I feel like both guys they gel well together for so long that they should be a prominent staple for their tag team division. And it feels like when they get heated up, it's like, oh, something's gonna happen with them or go a different direction. It just never happens. They never commit. People have been wanting a singles push for Montez Ford himself. We're never gonna get that at this point.
No.
No. This is the guy that people are like, yo, this is the next WWE champion. And it's like, you can't even get the IC title. So I was like, you guys gotta it's just the company themselves. It has nothing to do with the man himself, it has to do with the company.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We got someone from LFG and Evolve fame, Anthony Luke, who is now known as Cam Hendricks. He is the boyfriend of Maxine Dupree, but he had a strong showing in LFG. We're gonna put him. He just debuted on Evolve, so we do know he works here. We'll just put him in mid. He hasn't really made his mark quite yet, but we'll see if he improves coming out in 2026. Then we got Ariana Grace, which was mid. Yeah, that's mid. Or I would say deserves better too because she's so charismatic. Doesn't get shine.
Yeah, and she was injured too, wasn't she? She was injured for a while too.
She was, but she was still on TV. She was the TNA. She was the NXT liaison.
And then now she's like restricted to a fucking valet for this bum.
So stupid. Yeah, just put her in mid because this mid choice is mainly because of the push because she really does deserve better, but I can't put her higher than mid because of the year that she's had.
Yeah, it's just like oh, is that Asuka?
Yep, we got Asuka next, so I'm trying to find Kairi Sane here. Let's just put Kairi right next to her senpai of Asuka and talk about the Kabuki Warriors. Asuka came back earlier this year in the spring ahead of the Queen of the Ring tournament. She would come back and insert herself into the tournament, making it all the way to the finals, where she lost to the eventual winner, Jade Cargill. From there, Asuka would realign with Kairi Sane and reform the Kabuki Warriors and get into one of the best storylines of the year for WWE. For me personally, was the whole drama that went down with the Kabuki Warriors, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley, and Asuka and Kairi eventually turning on Io and feuding with Io and Rhea. This led to the Kabuki Warriors winning the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships in November. They've held on to those titles. They've been in the Women's War Games. They had that great matchup against Rhea and Io at Crown Jewel as well. So I've liked the Kabuki Warriors year. Where do you think we should rank them?
For me, I think All-Star. I've enjoyed their work. I've really enjoyed their work, especially when it's together. And then you had that angle where Asuka was being like an abusive husband to Kairi, or you can say wife, whatever you want to call it. It was entertaining stuff, and I do feel like like when they're used, their presence are known, especially when it comes to the tag team, for the women's tag team, because I feel like that's more prominent on Raw than the men's. That's kind of crazy to me, but I would say All-Star.
Yeah, definitely. They're deserving of being all-stars for this year, mainly for that whole rivalry and storyline with Io and Rhea Ripley. Like that puts them in the top, near the top of our tier list here. Then we got, you know what? I'm gonna put. We're not gonna do him yet. We're gonna put him with the rest of the Vision over here. We got the rest of the Vision. We'll do the Vision all in one shot. But we got to find Nathan Frazier if we're going to do Axiom next. So we could just do them in one shot, one kill here. And there's Nathan Frazier. So we got Fraxium next, who started off the year as NXT Tag Team Champions, tearing it up over there. They were the best tag team of 2024, and they looked like they were going to continue on that run. They would lose the NXT Tag Team Championships at Stand and Deliver in an excellent matchup against Hink and Tink. However, they would then get called up to the main roster and debut on SmackDown, and they were a highlight of SmackDown their first couple of weeks on that show, tearing it up against the Street Profits and DIY, and they were just delivering time in, time out. Los Garza, didn't matter who you put them up against, they were going to deliver. Nathan Frazier with his fast pace, running the ropes with his speed, Axiom with this high flying and technical ability. Both men were able to get like showcases in singles competition, as well as both men tried their time at the United States Championship. Nathan Frazier in particular having a straight up banger with Ilya Dragunov for the title. They would find themselves right now in a feud with DIY after DIY stole one of Axiom's masses. They were, of course, part of that amazing a 6-way TLC matchup at SummerSlam in the tag team division. But this is another case of kind of like they haven't been the most consistently and most prominent teams, but I will say they have been used more than Motor City Machine Guns in the second half of the year. So they haven't been like thrown by the wayside like a lot of these other tag teams have in the second half of 2025. So where are we putting Fraxium?
Damn, those are good arguments, because I would have said deserved better, but they've been used, but it's like, I kind of want better for these two guys. Especially,
I think deserves better is fine, because I wish they would have won the tag team championships.
Yeah, I would say deserve better then, because especially when you had them call NXT, they were killing it in NXT, they were carrying the fucking division, and then you see how that division went after they left. So I mean, that alone should tell you, like that alone should tell you how not only great they were, but like how important they are when you use them. And they had their moments, like even like their, what was it, when they, I don't know, the way they kind of debuted them was kind of weird, because like they had them like separate, like, all right, we're gonna put them in a singles match, but it actually showcased both individuals, like it did them favors. And then when they were in the tag team match, it was like, oh, this is a really good team. Like people saw why they were great. Like they're like, oh, this was a prominent team. But and it's kind of crazy that when you see Deserves Better, you see how many tag teams are there. These are good teams. These three teams are good teams. It's not like you have bums, like, and that's crazy to me.
Like, you would think from the first half of the year that these three teams had that they would be like all-stars. They would be at least in the all-star range because of how much they were carrying SmackDown, being the best match on SmackDown every single week, but they were just thrown by the wayside in the second half of the year. I think Fraxium is the one where I would be like, I can see them in mid-card or Deserves Better because, like I said, they are still used, and I do see them weekly, whether it's in backstage segments, in singles matches, in tag team matches. They're still used, so I can see them in mid-card or Deserves Better, but either or is fine with
It's
me.
just like inconsistency, and I think saying Deserves Better for these teams, I think it proves the inconsistency when it comes to like the tag team division, like how they are using them. Whereas like, yeah, fucking great teams, just fucking use them. Hopefully, with SmackDown going back to 3 hours, they put an emphasis on that again. Because if you kind of notice when you say half the year, most of the year, like when you see like the map, all right, these teams were being used, but then when they went back to 2 hours, you saw them less. Besides Fraction, so that's kind of telling to me.
The tag team division were the big like losers of SmackDown losing that extra hour. It seemed like BFAB mid.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
No question. It was like not even a debate.
Bailey Humphries, she had a nice showing on LFG, but I haven't seen her since LFG season 2 ended, so I will put her. Do you work here? Until I see her in one of these shows, because I watch all of these WWE shows. Until I see her, she'll stay in. Do you work here? Bailey.
Oh, Deserves Better.
Yeah.
Not even a question. Not even a question. Oh man.
You got scrapped from the WrestleMania card. You got freaking when it looked like you were gonna get your one-on-one matchup with Becky at SummerSlam. They had Lyra beat you, so you were pulled off the SummerSlam card. Then they gave you the whole split personality storyline, and then they kind of scrapped that, and now they're bringing it back in a different way. Like they just completely dropped the ball on Bailey this year. Deserves better. That's the easiest one. For Deserves Better. She might be the top of Deserves Better.
She's number one so far, by far. If there's any other argument, so far it's Bailey. Oof.
Definitely Bailey has to be at the top of Deserves Better. Then we got Rebecca Quinn, the GOAT, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch made her return at WrestleMania 41, teaming with Lyra Valkyria to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. From there, the two women lost the titles the next night on the Raw after WrestleMania to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, the former champions. This led to Becky Lynch turning on Lyra Valkyria and turning heel. Like the first time that Becky Lynch turned heel back in 2021, it took a little bit of time for the fans to get on board with booing Becky Lynch, but she somehow, some way figured it out. She had a great matchup with Lyra at Backlash where she came up short. She attacked Lyra post-match, and then the next night on the next Raw episode following that, she cut one of her best promos of the entire year, where she broke down how the fans have turned on her, how she was WWE Women's World Champion last year, and they started calling her Becky Hogan, but now she knows she's the greatest of all time because it's not just her saying it. Sports Illustrated is saying it too, and this started the whole gimmick of her being the GOAT, of her being the greatest. She eventually would talk Lyra into a rematch for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank, where she defeated her. The ruling was that if she defeated her, Lyra would have to raise her hand. So she won the title. Lyra raised her hand, but then attacked her afterwards. Then she had a straight up banger at Evolution against Lyra and Bailey, where she retained the title there. She would face Lyra once again at SummerSlam, once again regaining the title despite Bailey trying to cheat and help Lyra. It was Becky who came out with the victory. She would go on to beat Nikki Bella at Clash in Paris. Then she would be embroiled in a feud feud with AJ Lee and CM Punk alongside her husband Seth Rollins, which would lead to WrestlePalooza, where they had the tag team matchup. She also helped her husband Seth Rollins retain the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event at Clash in Paris, officially joining the Vision. The married couple would lose to Punk and AJ at WrestlePalooza. This would lead into Becky getting into a feud with Maxine Dupree, where she elevated Maxine at least to mid-card status, I guess you could say, and eventually dropped the title to Maxine thanks to a distraction from AJ Lee. She was one of the stars involved in the Women's War Games, but she has been absent from WWE television since then after boycotting all the crooked referees and crooked work of Adam Pearce, and probably the best promo in WWE all year long. Most consistent, most entertaining promo of anyone. So Becky Lynch, where are we putting her?
Which tier is higher than All-Star?
Moment makers and merchants. The two top tiers is moment makers and merchants and WrestleMania headliners.
Ooh, I think Becky. That's the thing though, because she's not a moment merchant because I feel like
but she's a moment maker. I think it's fair if we put her in that second to last. I think she has an argument for the top tier, but I don't think it's like that solid of an argument over some of the other people that we'll get into. So I would say the moment maker, she is that.
I would say that. I just put her there because she's been used consistently, but then like even her crash outs lately have been very more entertaining than it should be. I would say, but she has had some big moments this year too. Like she has some big moments when she came back. Obviously, the way that was used, but it was like, all right, you're gonna turn her heel coming back.
I think the program with Lyra is one of the best WWE feuds of the year.
Yeah, and she's put not only when Becky Lynch can make somebody like Maxine Dupree look good in the ring, that's all you got to know about Becky Lynch.
Gave Maxine the best matches of her entire career and made fools out of everyone backstage who was like, Maxine could be this good? No, she can only be this good with Becky. Guys, why are we giving her a title? Then we have Bianca Belair. Unfortunately, we gotta put her in niggas always hurt because she was hurt. She started off the year hot though. She was in the Royal Rumble, then she won the Elimination Chamber in a great Elimination Chamber matchup, especially the final minutes with her and Liv Morgan. She was a part of the WWE Match of the Year with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, but unfortunately broke her knuckle in that matchup and has been gone since.
And it's kind of crazy because it's been one injury, so it's not like even it's not like, oh, this happened and then that happened. She just hasn't been back since. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I think she would be like a top 3 tier person if she had worked even half the year. I think that she would probably be in that conversation for one of those top 3
easily. That's how good she is.
Then we got Blake Monroe, who we got to talk about. Like, we can't, this is a strange case, but I think that it's only fair if we put her whole entire year. We got to put her whole entire year, which includes her in AEW, where she started off the year as the AEW Women's World Champion. She would lose that title to Timeless Toni Storm in Australia at Grand Slam Australia in February. Then went on to have a bona fide match of the year candidate in all of wrestling with the Hollywood ending, part of one of the best feuds of the year with Timeless Toni Storm, culminating there at Revolution in March. After that, though, she was absent from AEW television for the better part of 3 months. It was then revealed that she was in her contract year and was thinking about leaving AEW and wanted to sign with WWE. And that came to fruition in June, where she was announced as being released from her contract, put on the alumni section for AEW. And then just a few days later, she signs with WWE, makes her debut on NXT, stakes her claim for the NXT Women's Championship. She would align with Jordynne Grace for a short term, them. They got the win at Great American Bash in Blake's debut in the main event against Fatal Influence. But then the next night at Evolution, Blake would turn on Jordynne Grace, setting up her main rivalry for the year for WWE with Jordynne Grace, where the two women feuded for months. They faced that heat wave, where Blake was able to pick up the victory there. However, Jordynne would get the win back with a victory in a weaponized steel cage matchup. Just at the next pay-per-view following that, I believe that was No Mercy. And then these two women would go their separate ways, but Blake would eventually find herself in the NXT Women's North American Championship picture, where she won the title, taking it away from Sol Ruca by beating her partner Zarya. And she held that title for just a number of about 2 months before she dropped the title by a botched title change on the most recent episode of NXT, the December 16th episode of NXT, where she lost to Thea Hale. So a strange year, I would say, for Blake Monroe, going from AEW to WWE, getting a initial push, which looked like she was going to be in the women's championship scene, then winning the secondary women's title, then losing it on a botch. It's a weird up and down year for Blake, but where do you think she ranks?
I do agree that it's a weird year, just because, like, damn, this one's tough. This one I'm unsure of, just because, like, again, and in AEW, she was using the most prominent women's storyline they've had in company history. You know, Grand Slam happens. I thought it was a solid match, and they main evented Grand Slam. And then they had the Hollywood ending, which should have main evented, but now knowing what we know, that she was already planning to leave, I understand why that wasn't given the main event. That was also a freaking fantastic match, and it ended a great storyline. And as far as her going to NXT, obviously, you know, it was a personal choice. She has her reasons of jumping ship, but then it's like, a lot of her stuff that she was doing, I didn't like that much. It just felt uninspiring. Like, she was trying to be kind of like what she was doing in AEW, but then it was like, it just came off like more of like a ripoff. Like, it wasn't like what she was, like what she was doing. Then she was stuck in this Jordynne Grace kind of thing, which I wasn't really a fan of. I thought like that went a little too long to my liking. Then they gave her the North American Women's Championship, where it's like, all right, maybe there could be something, you know, and then that botch happens. And, you know, for somebody who needed some real momentum, that was like kind of like a kick to the nuts, to say the least, because it was like, man, somebody who really needed something, it was her, and then that happens. So it was like, this is a weird case. This is really a weird case. I just don't know.
I would say mid card.
Mid card?
Mid card.
Yeah. Just because, like, we're in NXT, it's like, it's you know, she is spending the most of the time in NXT right now, like for most of the year. But I don't know, you know, and I'm not one of those guys who want to write. I'm not going to write her off just because she has enough time. If she signed like a 3 or 4 year deal, there is enough time. You can still, you know, you can still work your way up. But it's just, sometimes when you have those kind of moments when management doesn't get behind you, it could really kill your career. I just hope that doesn't happen for her, but I just haven't really, her NXT run, I really have just not liked.
I think that it was on the up until this whole botched title change. I think
it's
with her
unfortunate.
winning the women's North American Championship.
Such a shitty time, like such bad timing. Like, damn, fuck.
Yeah. Can't deny that. Can't deny that at all. Let's put the Wyatt 6 all up here. Why don't we? We got Dexter Lumis. We'll put him next to him. We'll got Joe Gacy. Where's Joe Gacy? He's right here. Where is Eric Rowan? Eric Rowan is over
should be around
here.
around the E.
And then Nikki Cross. Where is Nikki Cross?
She might be more on the bottom.
Yeah, there we go. There's Nikki. There's Nikki looking horrifying. So we got the Wyatt 6 up here. where are we putting the Wyatt Six? Of course, they made their return on the anniversary on Bray Wyatt's birthday. They made their return in May. They would go on to win the WWE Tag Team Championships, and they signaled the end of the rise of the WWE of the SmackDown Tag Team division. Pretty much, they coincided with each other. But they were part of that. They did win that great TLC matchup at SummerSlam. They beat the Street Profits at Clash in Paris, and they most recently started a feud with Solo Sikoa and the MFTs on SmackDown, ending off the December 19th episode of SmackDown with a huge brawl between the two factions. Where are we putting the Wyatt Six?
Oh, this one is also kind of a curious case. I kind of want to say either mid or mid card.
I would say mid card only because they won a title.
Yeah, and a lot of people just don't want them on their TVs. It's unfortunate. People thought this thing will be going nuts. Their debut was one of the best on-screen debuts you will ever see in your life. But I kind of saw where there was going, and you're my witness. I'm like, I don't see them going that much nowhere because of the gimmick. People like the gimmick, but it doesn't go anywhere. This is not the 90s, unfortunately. So it's like
I think it mainly comes down to Triple H doesn't like spooky shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it, and he mainly
he doesn't want to get it. He doesn't want to.
Yeah, he doesn't want it. Yeah, he doesn't even want to try to understand it. He just doesn't get it, and he just keeps it on the back burner or keeps it very limited in what they are able to do. Like, if you compare the way they debuted with that fucking horror film that it was last June, where they murdered everybody backstage, and everything that's happened since then, you're like, man, this is a letdown. This is a fucking letdown compared to where they were.
Night and day difference. Like, I've never seen something like so, like, again, like you said, like the way that we saw it on TV, it was kind of like, wow, like they just really went balls deep, and you think they was gonna go somewhere, and then now it's like people don't want them on their TVs. That's kind of it's so bad. It's like, and I feel bad for them. Like, I do feel bad for Bo. I do feel bad for Joe Gacy, because Joe Gacy is somebody I worked with. But it's like, damn, like, fuck, like, rough. It's rough out here for them.
I've always been a fan of Joe Gacy, and like even remember like the way they debuted. And remember the first couple of weeks when they were doing those interviews with. Remember the Bo interview? Bo interviewing Uncle Howdy interviewing Bo. That's one of the best things they did last year. And now compare that to where they are now.
It's like, please get them off my TV, please. And
then when you think about the fact that their initial push was fucking ended by Karrion Kross in the Final Testament. They lost to them last December, and then they were off television for 5 months after that. It's like, dude, y'all don't really know what you're doing here. This is something that y'all are just trying to be nice to Bo and the White and the Wyndham family about. It seems like. Then we got this is Brad Baylor. I might as well do the entire Vanity Project now. So let's get Jackson Drake.
I have seen them a lot. It seems like they've been used a lot. The Vanity Project. I could be wrong.
Yeah, they are the faces of WWE Evolve. They are the prominent, like they're prominently used over on Evolve. I'm not seeing the Evolve champion Jackson Drake here, which is kind of stupid, because why do you have Swipe Right but not Jackson Drake? Hey, we'll figure it out. But where's Ricky? Ricky Smokes. There he is. There's Ricky Smokes. So you got Ricky Smokes, you got Brad Baylor, Swipe Right as part of the Vanity Project. They are primarily used, however, and WWE Evolve doesn't really have freaking tag team championships. They have been featured a bunch on NXT as well, but I think they're just mid. They're just mid because Jackson Drake. If we had Jackson Drake here, then we would put them in like mid card. Jackson Drake, I would at least put in mid card, but Swipe Right is kind of like the seconds to him. They're kind of his lackeys. They're his Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase to his Randy Orton. So we'll put them.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Then we got the Americanos, El Grande Americano, Bravo Americano, and where the hell is Ryu Americano with the stupid ass mask? These masks fucking suck. Ryu and freaking Bravo's masks are trash. Horrible. Basuda. If we were just grading El Grande Americano based on the first half of the year and his AAA contributions, I think he's an easy mid-card guy. I think the other Americanos are definitely going to be in mid. But where do you think El Grande deserves to be? Of course, he made his debut at the beginning of the year with Chad Gable first under the mask. He would go on to defeat Rey Fenix at WrestleMania. He was in a feud with Rey Mysterio. He was in feuds with Penta throughout the year. Of course, Chad Gable would go down with an injury in July, so they made the transition from Chad Gable to a Grande Americano, which I thought was hilarious decision to do. And I thought that Ludwig Kaiser under the mask has really taken to it in more of a way than even Chad Gable was able to. They did water down the gimmick a lot by introducing Ryu and Bravo. Instead of introducing them as other El Grande Americanos, they decided they wanted to make them a part of a family, Los Americanos, which was stupid. It really hasn't worked. It really is not used on WWE television, and it's more been featured on AAA as of late with the Americanos. They were featured on the recent AAA event. El Grande Americano's been basically a top star for AAA, teaming with Dominic Mysterio, being featured in the main event scene a lot, and even being pushed as a babyface. Most recently, El Grande Americano and Dominic Mysterio lost to Rey Mysterio and Rey Fenix, and post-match, El Grande Americano shook hands with Rey Mysterio, which I thought was like huge in my opinion, because this is like them kind of slowly but surely transitioning El Grande as a babyface in AAA. So what do you think the Los Americanos deserve to be?
So Los Americanos, so we're putting them together, right? Or are we separating?
I think we can separate El Grande from the rest of the Americanos, to be fair.
Oh yeah, so the Los, yeah, I think they're mid, just because I mean, I feel bad for my boys Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate being stuck in that, unfortunately. But then even the way they were introduced, like they're using AI stuff, and then when you see it, it's just like just comes off lazy, like the design, like it looked like they just didn't even try to make it look good. I get it, like if your idea is to just make it look plain or whatever the case may be, fine, like that's what you want to do. But Americano, I definitely El Grande, I'll rank him higher just because like you said, when he was Chad gave that quirky charisma, that quirky like comedy stuff that Chad leans into even when he's himself, and we got that from El Grande. He just didn't really speak because he can't speak Spanish, so he really didn't speak. So it was just him wearing the mask and doing goofy stuff. With Ludwig, it took a while because I know people were turned off by it a little bit because it was that just the idea was funny. Whereas like you went to Ludwig and he looks nothing like Chad Gable. But I felt like it works more in AAA than it does on WWE television. Because of he speaks Spanish and he was singing and the crowd got behind him, even as a heel. The crowd got behind him, and I think that's why they're gonna turn him face, like in AAA. So I think it works more in AAA than it does on WWE television, and I think that's why it's kind of like maybe mid-Carter, but it's like on AAA. I think he's more of an all-star in AAA, and it's kind of crazy, right? Where it's like, oh, this is the strongest suit. So I would say overall, because WWE is WWE, I would say mid-Carter.
Yeah, that's where I was intending for El Grande as well. Then we got down here next. We got Brock Lesnar, and then we got every single member of the Vision except for the guy who created the team. We got first Brock Lesnar, This is short and sweet. He returned at SummerSlam, beat down John Cena. Then he beat John Cena again at WrestlePalooza in September. He would return again for the War Games, the men's War Games. Ahead of facing John Cena at WrestlePalooza, he ripped his pants when he did a segment with R-Truth. Ahead of the War Games, he fell down doing his own entrance. Then he would be a part of the winning team in the men's War Games, and that's 2025 for Brock Lesnar. I really want to put him in. Nickel wasn't here.
We could, but it sounds like the stuff that you just said. It sounds like he's a moment merchant. Because those were moments. As much as we don't like Brock, I don't like Brock. SummerSlam, they made that a big deal when he showed back up. Did I personally like it? No, but people got to talk about it. When he ripped his pants, people were talking about it. The John Cena match was terrible, and people were talking about it, for better or worse. And then the build up to War Games, he fell. People were talking about it. Like, yo.
But this nigga's only been here like 6 times.
That's true though, and that's why I was like,
I mean, not here.
Yeah, you can put not here. It's just funny that when he's been used, it's been memorable. Which is saying a lot. It's not a good memorable. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good memorable, but it's memorable.
I'm going to put this nigga at the top of niggas not here. Like, he's not here.
Yeah, he's not even there right now. He's not even there right now.
This nigga takes more breaks.
But I was
He takes more breaks. He takes more breaks than a pregnant woman working at Rite Aid.
Oh, shit. Oh my god. That is true. That is true though. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit.
All right. And we got the Vision, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and Bronson Reed. Now we got to break down all their years. Paul Heyman started off the year with Roman Reigns. Then he was put in the middle of Roman Reigns and CM Punk, his best friend, and his tribal chief ahead of WrestleMania, where those two men faced Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins gave him a third option, a way to get out from the middle of these two gigantic egos, which Paul Heyman took when he betrayed Punk and Roman to align with Rollins, helping Rollins get the biggest win of his career in the main event of WrestleMania, defeating Roman Reigns and CM Punk, aligning with each other, and then they were joined by Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker started off the year as the Intercontinental Champion. He was feuding with the likes of Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Of course, that would culminate in a 4-way at WrestleMania where he dropped the Intercontinental Championship to Dominic Mysterio without being pinned. But then on the Raw after WrestleMania, he elevated himself to the main event picture when he destroyed Roman Reigns in the final segment on the Raw after WrestleMania, aligning with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, creating the Vision. In May, they were then joined by Bronson Reed, who helped Breaker and Seth get a win over Punk and Sami Zayn at Saturday night's main event. Bronson Reed had been out with injuries since last year in the men's War Games, and these 3 men became the focal point of Monday Night Raw. It was Reed and Breaker who helped Rollins win the Money in the Bank. It was Reed and Breaker who faced Jey Uso and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, coming up short just there. Also, Reed came up short against Roman Reigns at Clash in Paris. However, he would pick up the biggest win of his career, beating Roman Reigns in his home country of Australia at Crown Jewel in an Australian street fight. It was Breaker who picked up the biggest win of his career so far, pinning CM Punk in the men's War Games, leading the Vision to victory. And it was ahead of the men's War Games that they found the newest member of the Vision, Logan Paul. Logan Paul started off the year making his way over to Monday Night Raw. He was a part of the Royal Rumble in the final 3 with John Cena and Jey Uso before being eliminated. He was a part of the Elimination Chamber, being eliminated by CM Punk, and then he defeated AJ Styles at WrestleMania. He came up short in his bid for the World Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event, but then he teamed with John Cena and came up short yet again against Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank. Logan would kind of be in between things. He would align with Drew McIntyre and pick up a win over Randy Orton and Jelly Roll at SummerSlam, and then he was kind of just shuffling around. He would make his way back to Monday Night Raw, tried to insert himself into the title picture. He had his great matchup, his best matchup the entire year against John Cena at Clash in Paris, where he came up short against the 17-time world champion. But then he eventually chose to join the Vision after being beaten down by Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. He understood that he was either with the Vision or against the Vision, and he chose to be with the Vision. And he has become a member of that team. He was a part of the winning team at the men's War Games. And then finally, the reason why they got the win in the men's War Games, Austin Theory, who came and was introduced as the Masked Man, who has helped them win at War Games, who helped them beat down the likes of Rey Mysterio and LA Knight. He revealed himself on the December 15th, December 15th edition of Monday Night Raw. So that is the Vision where we are pitting the Vision for 2025.
I want to say, I kind of want to say All Stars or even the one below, because they've been used prominently throughout 2025. Granted, during the summertime, I mean, it was pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie, because the program and that was more of the format, more of the formula of, hey, let's have the Vision come out, let's have them start. Let's have them have a promo, cut a promo, and then they have a match in the main event, and then we have a non-finish. We got that for multiple weeks. But if you're talking about like how they're used and how important they are to the show or whatever the case may be, these fellas are pretty prominent. But yeah, I mean, obviously I would want more. I would want for what we were supposed to get. I don't think, no pun intended, the Vision is not what I thought it would be, but I would say
Heyman. I would say Heyman, Breaker, and Reed should be in moment makers. Because you're absolutely right. They've been so important to WWE. I would say Logan Paul, because he just joined the group, I would put him at All-Star. And then Austin Theory, you could say at mid, because you just joined.
Yeah,
and you've been pretty mid.
And he was, that's fair. I say Austin Theory, because I'm like, he got no pop. He got no pop. I know Sad was defending that, but it's like, he got no pop. I'm sorry. Like, if you only have a bunch of women screaming, that's about it, then no. Like, it's not a good thing.
Yeah. So that was the Vision right there. We'll get to the Visionary in a bit here. Brooks Jensen, you're mid. Same as you. Robert Stone, mid. You're a non-wrestler, but I'm still gonna put you in mid. I don't care. You're mid. Because you've been trying to be in storylines the whole year, either in TNA or in NXT. You're mid. So Brooks Jensen, Robert Stone, go into mid. Then we got Bronco Lima, and what's his partner's name? Lucian Price or something like that. Where are you, Lucian? There you go, Lucian. OTM, mid. Well, Niggas wasn't here. Niggas wasn't here. They just came back, so let's put them in. Niggas always hurt. They were hurt. Pat McAfee. Should we just put him in non-wrestler? But he did wrestle this year. Of course, that 50-50 matchup with Gunther at Backlash. He cut great promos on the lead up to Backlash. I will give him that. And the original angle where Gunther chokes him out, great stuff. One of my favorite angles of the year from WWE. But where do you think we should put Pat McAfee?
Well, he's not even really there now. So it's...
Oh, nigga's not here. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
He's not even
here. He's
Creed Brothers.
I always forget about the Gunther match. Oh, yeah, I always forget about that match. I always forget. I was like, oh yeah, he had a match with Gunther.
You want to forget about that match. That's what you mean.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I forget, and then it's like, oh wait, that's what happened with Gunther. That was the program after the Jey Uso shit. It was like, oh boy, yeah.
Oh boy. Candice LeRae, mid.
Mid.
Probably,
Easy mid.
probably, yeah, probably. Warning everybody that her husband might be there joining her shortly. Carly Bright is mostly on Evolve, but mid. Yeah, she was basically the sidekick to Kendall Gray on Evolve. Mid. Then we got down here next Carmelo Hayes, who's had an interesting year. I think like he started off the year with this foy or kind of like odd couple tag team with the Miz, where the Miz was trying to be his kind of veteran and mentor as Carmelo Hayes was in the mid card. He did win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which to that point was his biggest win yet. He went on to basically have a falling out with the Miz later in the year after getting an opportunity at the United States Championship. Miz would turn on him. They would feud for a couple of weeks, but they never even had a blow off match. I don't think they ever have had the singles match to blow that off. So they just changed course. They dropped that after a while, and now Carmelo Hayes has basically turned babyface. He's aligned with Ilya Dragunov. They picked up a win over DIY on the December 19th edition of Friday Night SmackDown. And then on the December 26th edition of Friday Night SmackDown, Carmelo Hayes picked up the biggest win of his entire year when he defeated Ilya Dragunov to win the United States Championship. So he ends off the year feeling like he's got some momentum. So where are we going to put Carmelo Hayes? I think this is mid-card. I think that's fair for him.
Yeah, I would say mid-card just because I think that win, the win that's coming up makes for it. If he doesn't get the title, I would have said deserves better because, man, this is the guy that people want. They really want to get behind Carmelo. They think he's really good. They think, me personally, I know how good Carmelo is because I scouted him myself. It's just a matter of opportunities, man. He really needs more opportunities. But like you said, that Dragunov win, I mean, that gives him a lot of momentum. And I really hope they do something with that. Because the kid is good. I want to see more of him. I want to see more from him. But I would say mid-carder is fair.
I will show my work here. I put Mark Nash, ring announcer for SmackDown and non-wrestler. I put Chad Gable in Niggas Always Hurt. And I put Katana Chance and Kaden Carter in contract not renewed because their contract was not renewed and they were released in May. Channing Stacks Lorenzo, who I would say is mid, but he did have some notable moments throughout the year. Of course, he was a part of the D'Angelo family to start off the year, but he eventually turned on his leader at Stand and Deliver, turning on Tony D'Angelo. He eventually beat Tony D in one-on-one action at Battleground. He would win the NXT Heritage Cup Championship before Tony D threw the cup into the river. And most recently, he has aligned with his real-life fiancée, Ariana Grace, and he is a part of the main program over in TNA, where he's won the TNA National Championship by defeating former TNA World Champion Steve Macklin. And then he was a main character in the Big Steel Cage matchup on the December 18th edition of TNA Impact, where he came up short with Team NXT, but post-match, he was a part of a big beatdown angle where Ariana Grace turned on her father, Santino Marella, low blowing him, and Channing Stacks Lorenzo attacked his father-in-law post-match. So where are we putting Stacks?
Stacks, maybe mid-carder because he has been doing stuff for like TNA. They've been using him with that. But then also, the program he was in, he turns on Tony D, which everyone knew that was going to happen. But he was still being used. And then he won that title in TNA, and then he was in an angle in TNA with, his fiance, girlfriend, turn on her own dad, and then Santino look all sad and shit. I would say mid-card.
Yeah, that seems fair for Stacks there. So Stacks is in mid-card, probably bottom of mid-card, but still mid-card. Chantel Monroe is a face over in WWE Evolve. Unless you're a prominent face in WWE Evolve, you're probably going to go to mid. So she'll go to mid. She hasn't really done much. So she'll just go to mid. Keep her there. We'll see if she can do better in 2026. Then we got Charlie Dempsey, another mid. Sorry, Charlie, but he's been used in other promotions, like they've used him in Pro Wrestling Noah and other stuff, GCW, of course, a part of Bloodsport and stuff like that. But I'm not. I think with Charlie Dempsey, I would make a case he deserves better.
Yeah, because I think Dempsey. You know, it's kind of crazy that Dempsey is one of those guys where in his actual company, he's not used as much or as prominent, but in other places, it's like, oh wait, Charlie Dempsey from NXT, that kind of does draw for people. Like when he goes to Noah, that draws for people. When he goes to GCW, that draws for people. It's a weird kind of case because I'm like, this guy, he's not bad. He's a prominent name. I think he's good in the ring, and then obviously being the son of William Regal, who's a legend in his own right. But yeah, I would say deserves better because I think especially in NXT, you should be doing better. Like if you're doing all that shit and you're helping spread, like, you know, you're basically being an advertisement poster for NXT, you should be doing more in the actual product.
Agreed. He's so good, technically sound. Like, yeah, he deserves better. I think he's our first guy from NXT in deserves better. Then we got Chelsea Green, who is always prominently used. She started off the year as WWE Women's United States Champion. Of course, held that title down as the first ever champion. She lost the title to Zelina Vega in the spring. She would still be used quite often with the whole green regime with Piper Niven and Alba Fire by her side. They used her as part of like the Battle Royal at Evolution. They used her in a short program against Nikki Bella. Eventually, by the end of the year, she would dethrone Julia for the WWE Women's United States Championship. All the while, she had also been going over to NXT and made an alliance with Ethan Page, this anti-American pro-Canada alliance that they had, putting up the virtues of Canada. They would win in a mixed tag team matchup. I believe this was at No Mercy against that was against Tyra May Steele. No, a Heat Wave against Tyra May Steele and Javon and Tavion Heights. They would win the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships from Misty Iguana and La Hydra over in AAA, making Chelsea Green a double champion. So she closing out the year with 2 title belts on her shoulders. Where are we putting Chelsea Green?
Shit, I want to say all-star. The way they've been using her. You're talking about somebody who's I don't want to call her a mid-card act, but you kind of know like that's what they use her for because, you know, obviously she was more onto the comedy side when she was being a Karen. She was being upset at Adam Pearce. But then, you know, they gave her the United States title, which I thought was the right move because you want somebody to carry that aspect of, you know, of what she does, of her gimmick. You know, then they weren't really using her. Then she drops the title. You know, then she gets lined up with Ethan Page. That's a great pairing. You know, that's a great pairing within itself. They even have merch now. And then she got the title back because it matches with Ethan Page. Ethan Page is a double champion. And then now Chelsea Green's a double champion. So I would say all-star.
That makes a lot of sense. She always has been able to maximize her minutes, and she had a really good year. When you look at all of that, all her accolades on paper, it's really good. Dante Chen, I'm just gonna skip ahead to you. You're pretty mid. You are here, so I will put you in mid. But you're mostly on Evolve, and you're losing now to people who just came up from LFG. So you are bottom of the totem pole, mid guy. Let me see if anybody else here quickly. Elijah Holyfield, do you even work here? You are part of LFG. Do you even work here still? I don't know. Then we have, I'm trying to see, Elton Prince is injured, so niggas always hurt. Then we got trying to see Drake Monroe, who just got from LFG to Evolve. We will put you in mid. You're fine. You're fine for where you're at in your career, but you're pretty mid. And let's see who else here. Everybody else here is pretty much used. We'll put Dark State all together in a bit here, and we'll move Cruz del Toro down so we can pair him up with Joaquin Wild. But everybody else is pretty prominent. And now we go into one of our more prominent names on our list here, CM Punk. CM Punk, of course, started off the year coming in. He was viewed as a favorite to win the Royal Rumble, but of course, his rivalry with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns stopped him from winning that Royal Rumble matchup. He would pick up a win over Seth Rollins on the premiere on Netflix in January. He would still embroiled in this rivalry with Seth Rollins for months afterwards. It would get even more personal after the two men cost each other the Elimination Chamber matchup and got into a huge pull-apart brawl, which led to a huge steel cage matchup, one of the best TV matches of the year for WWE, where Punk lost to Seth Rollins thanks to Roman Reigns, but this set up the stage for a triple threat match at WrestleMania, where CM Punk finally accomplished his goal. He got to headline WrestleMania with his best friend Paul Heyman in his corner. However, Paul Heyman would turn on Punk as well as Roman Reigns and align with Seth Rollins, helping him get the victory. And then Punk would be embroiled in this rivalry, this blood war, this blood feud with Seth Rollins throughout the rest of the year. They would face in tag team action at Saturday night's main event. They would be involved in the qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. They would eventually face off with each other a few different times throughout the year. Punk would become the number one contender to face Gunther at SummerSlam, where he picked up the win and became World Heavyweight Champion for the first time in over a decade in WWE. However, this led to Seth Rollins revealing the ruse of the century, that he faked an injury at Saturday night's main event, and of course was revealed that he was faking the whole time and cashed in his Money in the Bank to defeat CM Punk and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Punk was involved in the very good four-way at Clash in Paris, where he lost to Seth Rollins once again, this time thanks to Becky Lynch, which led to the mixed tag team matchup, the biggest mixed tag team matchup in WWE history, as Punk and AJ Lee beat Seth and Becky at WrestlePalooza. It looked like we were on the road to Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. Punk became the number one contender ahead of that matchup, but of course, Seth Rollins suffered an injury in his match against Cody Rhodes, which led to Punk facing Jey Uso, where he did become the World Heavyweight Champion. He lost in the men's War Games thanks to the Masked Man and Braun Breaker, and he is on the road to facing Braun Breaker on the January 5th Monday Night Raw, coming off the heels of a great promo from him on the December 15th edition of Monday Night Raw. CM Punk, he's a top 2 tier guy for me personally for 2025. Where are we putting him?
I'm gonna have to put Punk out WrestleMania main eventer.
Seems about right. Seems about right. There's not many people that we're gonna talk about from WWE roster that had a better year than Punk. He's always in the main event. He's one of the top 2-3 stars in the whole company. There's an argument that he's the most popular guy on the roster as well. So yeah, Punk deserves to be at the tippy top. He was in the main event of WrestleMania this year, 2 reigns as World Heavyweight Champion. In many fans' eyes, not me, but many fans' eyes, him and Seth Rollins is one of the best feuds of the year from WWE. So yeah, top of the list. Then we will move on to someone else you know very well, Josh, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes kicked off the year as the undisputed WWE champion, put on a match of the year candidate against Kevin Owens in a ladder match at Royal Rumble, picking up the victory there. And of course, he was the victim of the John Cena heel turn at Elimination Chamber after being told that he needed to sell his soul to The Rock ahead of that event. He would turn down The Rock, tell him to go fuck yourself. But of course, Cena would turn on him and beat him down alongside Travis Scott and The Rock. Put on some great promos on the way to WrestleMania before dropping the title to Cena at WrestleMania, where Cena became a 17-time world champion. Cody would take a few weeks off before returning at Saturday Night's main event, where he aligned with Jey Uso and went on to defeat Cena and Logan Paul at Money in the Bank, pinning the undisputed WWE champion. Then Cody Rhodes would beat Randy Orton to win the King of the Ring tournament, punching his ticket for the main event of SummerSlam, where he put on a bona fide match of the year candidate against John Cena at SummerSlam, winning back the undisputed WWE championship. He would go on to defend that title against Drew McIntyre at WrestlePalooza, defeating him there. He's been embroiled in this feud with Drew McIntyre ever since then, with the two men going back and forth. He did beat him on the November 1st edition of WWE Saturday Night's main event, but did use some nefarious means to get the job done there. He came up short against Seth Rollins in another great matchup at Crown Jewel. He would be a part of the men's War Games matchup, where he did come up short there and got into a confrontation with Roman Reigns afterwards. And most recently, he did a home invasion on Drew McIntyre, which is setting the stage for another bout over the WWE Championship with the Scottish Psychopath. Cody Rhodes, 2025. Where are we putting him?
It's kind of weird because obviously on paper you could say WrestleMania main eventer, but this year I don't know. It's been a strange year for Cody, honestly. It's even though he has the world championship, he's main evented WrestleMania, he's main evented SummerSlam. But there's just something about it that I don't know. Like, that I feel like personally, I think Punk had a stronger year than Cody, and that's me. And that's me, I have my problems with Phil, but that's also me being honest. If we're just being, we got to take the bias out of the picture. I would say WrestleMania main eventer by default for at least this year, because they're still using him. He's still a top guy. He's still the top star. There's three guys in my mind who are still the top tier of WWE, and he's one of them. So
I think he is definitely helped out by the second Cena matchup. I think that if without that second Cena matchup, because of how the John Cena feud ended off at WrestleMania, that bad matchup there, and the staleness of how long they've dragged out this Drew McIntyre feud, I would make the argument that he has dropped from the top tier to moment makers to the second tier. But I can understand you saying, yeah, he is still one of the top three guys in this company, so that is worthy of being in the WrestleMania headline.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good argument, to be honest. Like I said, it's a good argument just because, again, I thought Cody had a stronger year last year compared to this year.
Yeah.
But it's a weird, I don't know. It's especially that Vortex season with Drew. Like, that shit between him and Drew should be good. It should be good. But it's one of those things where you kind of know the result, so people are not really interested in that. We know what they're doing with Drew McIntyre, and there's nothing prominent. Yeah, he's getting into a feud with Cody, but he's not winning. So it's like, it comes off boring. The match at WrestleMania wasn't good. Like, it wasn't
honestly, good. I honestly really want to put Cody in the second tier, because I feel like the biggest things that he did this year is attached to John Cena, and John Cena is more important to those bigger things than he is.
Yeah, unless you want to say like, oh yeah, that's John Cena needed a sacrifice slam. I don't know. It's a weird, it's a weird. It's a curious case for him, just because, like, obviously, again, they present him as this top star. They still present him as this top star. He's still like the top baby face, I guess. But I don't know. Like, and even I have my criticisms on it.
I think that we'll get a better idea when we put everybody else on the tier list, when we're adjusting. Maybe we drop him down. Maybe we put him at the bottom. We'll see. We'll see if Cody stays in this top tier here. Then we put everybody else that needs to be included. Damian Priest, who started off the year embroiled in his old rivalry with the Judgment Day, still. He did go on to defeat Finn Balor on the second episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix, and then he would be moved from Raw to SmackDown, where he started off a feud with Drew McIntyre. Those two men would be going at it tooth and nail after Damian Priest eliminated McIntyre from the Royal Rumble as well as the Elimination Chamber. Drew wanted revenge after Damian Priest was also responsible for cashing in his Money in the Bank on Drew for the World Heavyweight Championship at last year's WrestleMania, which led to a showdown at WrestleMania 41, where Drew and Damian had a very good matchup, with Damian coming up short against Drew. He would get his revenge on Drew, though, in a steel cage matchup at Saturday Night's Main Event following that. He would kind of be lost in the shuffle for a bit before starting his feud with Aleister Black in July, and he's been feuding with him ever since. I did not know it would be that fast to describe his whole year, but that's his whole year.
I would say for Damian, I would say maybe Mick Carter, because he's been presented as a Mick Carter at this point.
Yeah. And I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, last year he was an all-star. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, he was, because he was the champion. He was the World Heavyweight Champion. And, he didn't have bad performances. And then, the Judgment Day stuff did help. Like, they carried it early on, like the first month. And then once it started dragging on, it was just like, oh, my God, we just want this shit to end. But he was a prominent staple for Raw for a while, especially last year. It's just that ever since they took him off Raw, it's just like, all right, Damian, you know where you were in Ring of Honor? That's what you are now. Like,
I mean, there could be an argument for deserves better because he is a former World Heavyweight Champion, but I do agree he kind of is just mid-card more than anything.
Yeah, because and then also the case of Damian Priest, it was a case of like house money, where they kind of signed him. They didn't know what they're going to do with him. But then it's like he achieved more than they probably, one, they expected. And then two, when they signed him to WWE, they didn't have, you think he was going to be a guy that was going to be a world champion? I didn't think so, just because of his resume in the Ring of Honor, which wasn't a bad resume, but they never pushed him further than that. So for him to get the push that he got, it was kind of like, all right, our investment worked out. Like, whatever he got out of it, we got out of it because we made him a world champion.
True indeed. Let's go over to Dark State. Let's see if we can find the rest of this crew over here. It is nice that they are all wearing masks, so I can identify them a lot faster than I would for any other stable. But yes, I am able to find them fight quite fast due to their signature masks. But Dark State made their debut in NXT. I believe this was back in February. They would attack at Vengeance Day. They attacked NXT champion Obafemi. They would be various attacks throughout the next couple of months before they eventually would step into the ring. They would go on a nice run of wins. Unfortunately, they would lose in TNA Slammiversary to the System. But that did not deter them. They eventually won the NXT Tag Team Championships at Heatwave against Hank and Tank. They would hold on to the titles for a couple of months before dropping them to the Hardys in a horrible matchup. And then they would win back the titles against the Hardys in a no rules matchup at Halloween Havoc, where they won back, became two-time NXT Tag Team Champions. Dion Lennox has been kind of putting his toes into the water in the main event scene. He was a part of the men's Iron Survivor matchup, the main event of NXT Deadline. So they have been prominent on NXT television throughout the year. I just don't like them at all and don't think they're that talented. I feel like Dion Lennox is a team move Jason Jordan. I think Osiris Griffin is one of the worst wrestlers in all of WWE. Cutler James has some talent, but they're making him into a cornball. And then there's Saquon Sugars, who's the star of the whole team.
No, it's true. It's like, when they come out, it's a little weird because obviously they're trying to be inspired by like the Shield. Like, well, that's what they want to, but it's like you have four guys who are just, they're not going to really be nothing. Like, they're not going to be what Seth Rollins was. They're not going to be what Roman Reigns has become. Yeah. Or even Dean Ambrose to an extent. these are just 4 guys they put together because they wanted to put them together. And like you said, like this guy, the second guy that you said, man, that Hardy Boys match, whew, man, man, man. And it's one of those things where obviously they come out, they want to make them look strong, but it's like, I don't know. I don't like them that much. I think there's a few guys who have potential in the group, but it doesn't really do it much for me.
I think they're just mid-card. They have to be in mid-card. I would love to put them in mid, but they have to be mid-card because they are very much pushed on NXT television.
On NXT and TNA when they were jumping people on TNA as well. So
yeah, they interfered in that whole Javon and Leon matchup at Bound for Glory, which I hate them even more for.
Yeah, and then they made like you said, they made this guy with cornball, which was a little weird because I was like, do they realize what they're doing with him? Like, it's like this when he made that joke about being behind a guy, and they had some like why you have to say it like that? I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Y'all don't know what y'all are doing with these guys. Poor guys. They're just starting off their career. They deserve better, but they're mid-card. Dominic Mysterio. Yeah, we got to put him in the second top tier. This guy, man.
Those are like, come on. I was like, there's no debate on that, especially that WrestleMania when he won the title.
Oh yeah.
Everybody went crazy, and then he went back into the ring to celebrate again. Like, that alone.
WrestleMania was really his breakout moment where he wins the Intercontinental Championship, and then he pretty much is part of the Intercontinental title scene for the rest of the year. That match at that 4-way with Braun Breaker, Penta, and Finn Balor was great. He won that. He was one of the more popular guys, one of the breakout stars of that whole weekend. And then he parlayed that into a pretty good run with the Intercontinental Championship. He had the good program with AJ Styles, beating him at SummerSlam. He would just become like very popular. It went from like, okay, this is just an isolated moment at WrestleMania, and then more and more crowds just started getting behind him. And then especially when he started working with Lucha Libre AAA and became a popular star over in Mexico and wins the AAA Mega Champion at at the Worlds Collide event in Las Vegas in September, becoming a double champion there. He's been pretty much the most prominent member of the Judgment Day the whole year. He's had the whole love triangle of sorts with Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. He beat John Cena in John Cena's final PLE performance at Survivor Series, winning the Intercontinental Championship for a second time. Dom has just been great this year. This has been the best year of Dominic Mysterio's whole career, and the year that he really kind of cemented himself as a future top star and potential future WWE champion.
Yeah, I agree. Especially this year, he's been proving himself a lot, and I have been speaking highly of Dom this year. I said, he's won me over. He's improved in the ring as well. Just because, again, I think with Dom, it's kind of unfair to try to compare him to his dad. He's never going to be what his dad is. So you just got to compare, he got to be himself. You got to change the lane to see what Dom himself is doing. Like, what is he doing that he's making a name for himself? And I do feel like he's set himself apart from his dad, especially when it comes to like the gimmicky character, heel shtick, more stuff like that. I like that approach. But then also, like, you mentioned WrestleMania, AAA. I mean, even when that was going on, I was like, yo, they got to put the title on Dom. If they want to get exposure for that title, they got to put it on Dom. And that's exactly what they did. He shows it on TV and everything. So, I mean, it's a good year for him. And, they got something there, man. They really got something with Dom.
Didn't even mention his lie, cheat, and steal gimmick with him just becoming this generation's Eddie Guerrero, where he's cheating, but the fans are just loving it and love the different ways that he's able to cheat to get the win and retain the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
It's been great. It's been great.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's also like the way he's doing it too is not like he's trying to be like an Eddie Guerrero ripoff. Like he's doing it not only to pay homage, but he's doing it like his own way. Like he's doing it in his own shitty way. You know what I mean? Like Eddie did it for like the laughs. He did it for like that. Dom is doing it to piss people off. Like especially when he uses the bell. Like he's doing it in different ways that another sense. He's setting himself apart from like Eddie Guerrero where he's paying homage to him, but it's not like, oh, you're trying to be like Eddie Guerrero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, great year for Dom for sure. And then we got down here, we got Dragon Lee. I think Dragon Lee is gonna go with his tag team partner and deserves better. What do you think?
Yeah. Sure, he definitely deserves better.
Like he got something. He finally won a title on the main roster with the World Tag Team Championships, but Dragon Lee has been a guy that should have been doing a lot more the whole rest of the year, besides just the last few months of the year where they finally decided to do something prominent with him.
Yeah, and I remember somebody made like a good comment where they were talking about like Dragon Lee and saying about deserving better, and it was like this came from like somebody on I think X, like a commentator or somebody, and they're like, you know, if WWE put as much as for me to try to make me care, then that's when I'll care about Dragon Lee. And like that's basically the tale of Dragon Lee. That's the, you know, if you're not using him, people are not going to care. It's just, you know.
They figured out a way to make you not care about Dragon Lee. All right, I'm putting a whole bunch of people that are on either Evolve or LFG. They're going over to mid. So we got Harlem Lewis, who made it to the finals of the LFG season 2, but we don't know what they're doing with him. He did have an appearance in what was it? Pro Wrestling Noah as well after his LFG season, but he's mid. They don't know what they're doing with him quite yet. Harley Riggins and his tag team partner, I'll find him eventually. They would just be in mid. They just started getting featured on WWE Evolve. Trying to see who else here at the top half we could. Oh, there's his partner, Jax Presley. Yeah, you can go over there. Ivy now, you're mid. Yeah, we'll put you with the Creeds in mid as well. Yeah, you haven't been doing much other than losing to Maxine Dupree because, yeah. Anyway, they just do this to themselves. But yes, you can go over there, Ivy. Now there was like 3 weeks in a row she would show up in backstage segments, and I had no clue who the fuck she was. Carmen Petrovic, you can go into mid as well. You're barely used, and now I think you're going to be used in Evolve, which says it all right there. If you're getting dropped down from NXT to Evolve, you're definitely in the mid section.
She was in TNA too. They were using her like as like the job squad in TNA, so it's like that's basically been like what she's been used for. Is like, all right, prominent naming from NXT. All right, let's throw her around.
Yeah. I'm throwing all these Evolve names in here. And Joaquin Wild, you can just join your tag team partner in mid as well. Lindsay Dorado, you've been hanging out with LWO, so you should go in mid as well. And Cal Dixon, you're from Chase U. You are definitely in mid, my friend. So we're getting through a lot of these people in short order here. I like this. I like the speed that we're doing this now. Then yeah, we might as well just go through the rest. See who else. Mason Holiday, you're Evolve as well. You can go over there. Layla Diggs, you hang out with Mason Holiday. Y'all will both be in mid together. See, keeping friends together. That's what we're all about here on our tier list for the end of the year. We're keeping family and friends together. Mason Holiday and Layla Diggs, y'all can do TikTok dance videos in mid section. All right. Now we're going back to the list. We got Drew McIntyre. We found someone who can top Bailey and deserves better.
It's so true. It's so true.
This is like the only person that I think will be able to top Bailey for deserves better because no one, dude, I looked at our video for last year. Do you know where Drew McIntyre was last year for us?
I know he was a lot higher.
Dude was WrestleMania headliner for us last year.
Damn. To go from that to deserves better. Oof.
He went from WrestleMania headliner to deserves better, mainly because he comes off the last year where he's in the feud of the year with CM Punk, a match of the year candidate inside Hell in a Cell, prominently used in the main event picture for the whole year. And then he started off the year, he was the Bloodline Hunter for a while, but then he lost to Jey Uso on the premiere on Netflix. Then he was a part of the Royal Rumble where he was unceremoniously eliminated by Damian Priest. Then he had the whole program with Damian Priest, beat him at WrestleMania, then lost to him inside of a steel cage. He was out for a number of weeks. Then he came back and he teams with Logan Paul to beat Jelly Roll and Randy Orton at SummerSlam. Then he's been in this long, drawn-out program with Cody Rhodes where he just finds new ways to lose. He's just a perennial loser. He's a jobber to the stars at this point, at the end of 2025. And that's really sad for who arguably was the wrestler of the year for WWE last year.
Yeah. You know, and I've been saying about Drew, like, he has the talent to do way more, and they have it. And then, obviously, I think he did things himself that got over. It wasn't so much management. He did it on his own, especially when it came to like the CM Punk stuff. But this year, I mean, once he went from where he went from last year at WrestleMania to Damian Priest, it was kind of telling where it was like, all right, I see where they're going. And then now he's in a program again with Cody where that should mean something. I know a lot of people will probably try to use that like, oh, but he's feuding with the world champion. It don't mean shit when you're not winning. Like, you've been in this feud and you've lost basically every single match that wasn't a DQ. Like, you've lost clean. There's no point. I mean, I think Cody did cheat one of them, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, he cheated once and then he got DQ'd another time.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just one of those things where we know the end result, so the feud means nothing when we kind of know where it's going. And then when he did get the world championship last year, it lasted 5 minutes because they use it as an angle. So it was like, he should be doing more.
I agree. I 100% agree when it comes to Drew McIntyre. He's just way too talented to be used as poorly as he's been used pretty much the entirety of 2025. It's very sad, in my opinion. It's quite sad. I think I'm gonna do another rinse through. Luca Crucifino. I don't know if you're fired or not. I don't know if you work here, so I'm gonna put, do you work here? I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure if you work here anymore. Ever since the D'Angelo family it became defunct, I don't know a lot of these people work here. Mako Satomura. I don't know if you work here. You're retired. You're retired. Are you like a coach or something? I don't know if you work here anymore. So, do you work here? Then we got who else we got here? I think this is like most. Oh, Noam Dar. Do you work here? I know you're injured again, but nigga's not here, so we'll put you in. Nigga's always hurt, but you always hurt. Weren't you like Heritage Cup champion and then you got hurt? That was wild. Elio Del Vikingo we'll go to next. Elio Del Vikingo, of course, is part of Lucha Libre AAA, but he was front and center when WWE announced their acquisition of Lucha Libre AAA earlier this year ahead of WrestleMania. He got involved in the whole El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix matchup at Mania, but he won back the AAA Mega Campeon from Alberto El Patron when Alberto El Patron was one of the more popular figures for AAA as the champion, and this led to the whole Mexican crowd turning on Vikingo. Vikingo's been in great matches throughout the year, whether it's against Chad Gable at the original Worlds Collide in Los Angeles, whether it was against Dominic Mysterio at the Worlds Collide in Las Vegas, where he dropped the AAA Mega Campeon. But really, he's kind of turned things around towards the end of the year where they finally just embraced that he is hated in Mexico and made him a heel. He turned on Dragon Lee in a tag team matchup against Dominic Mysterio. and Dominic Mysterio and El Grande Americano. And then he's been feuding with Dragon Lee for the last couple of weeks. He beat Dragon Lee on the December 20th Guerrero's War of the Titans, where he aligned with Omos. Omos and IYO del Vikingo are now an alliance in AAA. So we're going to throw Omos up here, and we'll just throw Omos in. Nigga's not here. He just showed up in AAA. He had a couple of moments in AAA this year, but you have not been here. But where are we putting Vikingo?
But he's an interesting one because I think you could either put him in All-Star or even in Moment thing, because I do think he's created moments, within AAA. But All-Star, I would say probably All-Star, because I think we know how good he still is in the ring. And then 2, they're still using him prominently, even under the WWE umbrella within AAA. When it comes to like the turn, I thought it was the right move, because it was just it was getting to a point where it was becoming too much. As far as this fan reaction, they're like they were not fucking with him, so it was good that they went that route. And then also the heat is still there. So it's not like, oh yeah, there's turn here and then the fans embrace it. It's like, no, the fans actually they hate this man so much that they're still booing him, and it's good. And I do like the pairing with Omos. I do like that pairing, because it's Vikingo getting a lackey, but you're getting like the tallest, biggest lackey that you could get within WWE. Because Omos, even with Omos, a lot of it has nothing to do with Omos. It's just I don't know what they want to do with him. Because I thought he was being prominent in Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah. I thought that was like a good spot for him. And then they were like, oh, we need you back. But then they brought him back and they didn't use him for nothing. And then they brought him back for the Triple Mania when they did their show. They brought him back for that, but he wasn't seen again. So at least this is kind of a way of using Omos more. You have an excuse to use him more, so you should use him more. But Vikingo himself, I would say All-Star.
Seems fair for Vikingo, especially being a former Mega Campeon, second time holding the Mega Campeon. All right, we're gonna run through a lot of this because we still got fucking rows and rows of people to go. We gotta get rid of some of these people. Tyler Breeze, you don't work here. Tyler Bate, you are mid. And we kind of already did you, Tyler Bate, but we're gonna have to do you a second time because you are listed twice.
He's not used. Or you could put him. He's not here because he's not there.
Yeah, he's not there. He's under a mask. So you're not there, Tyler Bate. Where's Pete Dunne? Then? Pete Dunne's right here. Yeah, you can go right next to Tyler Bate.
They're the two guys that are joined up twice each, and they got the lowest tiers.
Where's Ludwig Kaiser? Ludwig Kaiser, you're not here either.
Oh my God, he got to be there too.
Ludwig Kaiser, you're not here. Oh, you're not here anymore. Grayson Waller, you can just take your place in mid. Take your place right in mid, right where you belong. Right where you belong with.
Is that Goldberg? You just put Goldberg in. You never. I saw Goldberg.
Yeah.
Like
he's not here. Or contract not renewed because he's retired.
Yeah.
You got retired this year. You can go there. I saw a bunch of other people. Shara Schreiber is a non-wrestler, so we could throw her ass in non-wrestler. There's just so many names on this list. WWE needs to do some spring cleaning. I will say next year.
This
is ridiculous.
It's gonna happen, and then we're gonna get the whole like, oh, this person deserved better, and we're gonna get the whole run around. But then when he's like, you look at it, it's like, yo, they got look how many employees they got.
They got ridiculous amounts. Like, what are we doing here? This is way too many people. Like, you don't even have that many shows to feature all these people. Yeah, Wesley, his contract not renewed. He got released earlier this year. I'm trying to see who else. Tate Wilder. I know you, but we'll put Tank Ledger next to his tag team partner up here, Hank and Tank. And Tank Wilder, you're a part of Evolve, and we'll just put you in mid with the rest of the Evolve cast. Up here, Tate Wilder. Yeah, there we go. In mid. Then we'll go to next. The War Raiders, who started off the year World Tag Team Champions, eventually lost the titles to the New Day at WrestleMania, and then they just been so inconsistently used since then. They most recently faced AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the World Tag Team Championships, but that was like the first time we saw them in like 2 months. They were in a 6-man tag with like against Grayson Waller and the New Day with Penta, but other than that, I think that's been a mid-year for them. What do you think?
Yeah. I think they're in either the mid or deserves better category, because I think this is a team. Like, if they go to SmackDown, that's a different. I think, like, you could turn things around. I mean, obviously they'll add to the tag team division, but I mean, imagine the amount of crazy matches they could have with some of those tag teams. Because they're both good. Like, they're both really good in my opinion. It's just that the Raw fucking that it's non-existent there.
Raw tag team division's in rough shape. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tag teams in the Designs Matter. And I don't think this is gonna stop anytime soon.
It's not. Shit.
All these tag teams. Okay, now we got someone good here. Ethan Page. What a year for Ethan Page. He was a part of probably one of my favorite programs to start the year against Javon Evans on NXT. He would beat him at Vengeance Day, but then he lost to Javon at Roadblock. He would then insert himself into the North American Championship scene. He lost to Ricky Saints at Stand and Deliver, but then went on to beat Ricky Saints on the May 28th edition of NXT. He became the North American champion, and he has been running high as the most dominant champion on NXT ever since then. He's defended the title against Ricky Saints at Great American Bash. He's defended against LELD Dr. Wagner Jr. at Halloween Havoc. He's faced people in multi-man matches, whether it be at the Worlds Collide event or otherwise. Him and Chelsea Green have created one of the best acts on NXT that really seems ready-made for the main roster. And now he ends the year as a double champion, winning the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships with Green in AAA. Ethan Page, I feel like he's like top 3 tier type of guy. Where do you think he goes?
I would say, honestly, number 2. Because not only he's had, me personally, the Ethan Page stuff, like, one of the things I had to get over, honestly, me personally, was like when he left AEW, the stuff that he was saying about it. I was just like, bro, like, you're in a better place. Like, can you just stop talking about it? But, I do feel like in WWE, he fits better in WWE. I know a lot of people are like, oh, WWE dropped the ball, AEW dropped the ball on Ethan Page. I was like, no, I think he's at where he needs to be at. Ethan Page is a character. He's more of a character-based wrestler guy than like in-ring guy. His in-ring stuff is not bad. Like, is it my favorite stuff? No, but it works because he's a great character. He's one of the best heels in the business. Not even just WWE, he's in the business. I think he's one of the best heels. And in this year alone, you kind of seen like that. Like, he's made that North American Championship. He makes it feel important in his own way because he's the way that he's using it. Then he put like the backdrop of the Canadian flag, which I think added to that. Like, it added to not only that, but it added to the gimmick itself. And then, like you said, like the pairing between him and Chelsea Green, it's just very natural. It feels natural. So, like, when the rumors are coming out of like somebody needed to be in the division, I don't necessarily think Ethan Page needs the vision. I think he's great of where he's at when it comes to Chelsea Green. Now they want to bring him to the main roster. I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you know you have somebody prominent, use them importantly, where he's not necessarily chasing the world championship, but you're making him still feel important because he's a character. And we kind of seen that a lot with NXT, with him and NXT. I just think he's a perfect fit for WWE itself.
Yeah, I think his run as NXT North American champion is one of the best North American title runs we've ever seen from the titles. So yeah, Ethan Page, he's right up there with everybody, as high up as I think any other NXT star should be on our list here. But we'll see as we get through this one. Then we got Fallon Henley, so we might as well just throw the rest of Fatal Influence with her. We got Lainey Reed, and we got, of course, the leader of Fatal Influence, JC Jane, who had a hell of a year, where she became the NXT Women's Champion on the May 28th edition of NXT. And since then, she's been riding high. She's had 2 reigns as NXT Women's Champion, dropping the title to Tatum Paxley at Halloween Havoc, and then winning it back just a few weeks later at Gold Rush. Meanwhile, Fallon Henley won the WWE Speed Women's Championship, and they dropped Jasmine Nix from the group and then added Lainey Reed. I think JC Jane, I would say, is all-star, and then Fallon Henley mid-card, and then Lainey Reed mid. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's fair because Jane, I know a lot of people are not in favor of her, but 2-time NXT champion, women's champion,
and TNA Knockouts World Champion. I forgot to mention.
And the TNA Knockouts World Champion, which kind of, they kind of just owned TNA that night. It's the anniversary. She was part of that, so yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah, she deserves to be higher than everybody else in the group. Fallon Henley, I thought that she was, and Fallon Henley was the NXT Women's North American Champion heading into this year. So she's had two runs with titles. So she earned her spot in mid card, and then JC deserves to be an all-star for her year, where she's really been the lead woman of the NXT Women's Division this year. So yeah, she deserves to be there. All right, and then we go back down here, and we got Finn Balor, so we might as well just throw the rest of Judgment Day next to him. So we got Liv Morgan, we got JD McDonough. Where's JD at? JD's Big Ed is right there. Then you got Raquel Rodriguez, where we got to scroll down a bit. We got Roxanne Perez over here. We'll throw her over on this side, and then we got, where's Raquel? Is Raquel on the list? Oh, okay, there's Raquel. Should have seen her. I can't recognize her unless I see her back. I'm sorry. So we got the Judgment Day. So we separated Dom from the rest of the Judgment Day, but Balor and JD won the tag team championships in June from the New Day. They would hold on to those titles for a number of months before dropping the titles to AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. Finn Balor was a part of the whole Intercontinental title mix to start off the year, coming up short, getting pinned by Dom at WrestleMania. It seemed like they were teasing that Finn would eventually turn on Dom, but I think that plans probably got scrapped when it comes to the Judgment Day when Liv Morgan got injured in June. Liv was playing a crucial role where she starts off the year as WWE Women's World Champion. Then she drops that title to Rhea Ripley on the premiere on Netflix. She then goes on to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, would defend it with Raquel Rodriguez against Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. They dropped the titles there and then won it right back the next night. Then when Liv goes down with the injury, when she's in the midst of a feud, she's Women's Tag Team Champion, but she's in the midst of a feud with the WWE Women's World Champion Io Sky. She also started a program with Nikki Bella for Evolution, all at the same time. And then she goes down with an injury against Kairi Sane. She's replaced by Roxanne Perez, who just got called up to the main roster after starting off the year. She was in the NXT Women's Championship scene, was a part of that very good 4-way main event at Vengeance Day against Julia, Bailey, and Cora Jade. She then gets called up to the main roster after WrestleMania, getting involved at a Raw after WrestleMania in the Stephanie Vicaire versus Io Sky matchup. Had a series of matches where she was teaming up with Julia for a while before eventually aligning with the Judgment Day, where she replaced Liv as co-owner of the tag team championships. They lost those titles to Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, but Perez has wrestled more than anyone in WWE this year, not named LA Knight. She's just had plenty of matches in NXT, over on Monday Night Raw, tag team singles matches, multi-woman matches. So where are we putting the Judgment Day for 2025?
This is a good one. So Finn,
I didn't mention Liv came back at Survivor Series helping Dom win the Intercontinental Championship from John Cena. So
I would say Finn. I would say for Finn, I would say deserve better, but I think at this point he's just a mid Carter. Like he's not doing nothing prominent. I think this is where he belongs. For himself, it is what it is.
I think they all deserve to be in the mid card.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, because Liv, I would probably have. Well, it's like with Liv, I would say higher, just because I feel like she feels more important, but she's been gone.
Yeah, she feels more important. Yeah, she's been gone for most of the year. Like, I think the only other place besides mid card you would put Liv is Nick wasn't here for most of the year.
Yeah, that's about it. And then Roxanne, she's worked a lot, but Roxanne is like for what we've gotten in NXT compared to like what we got on the main roster, it's like, like I feel like they have a talented girl there, so I feel like she should be doing more. But as long as she's attached to Judgment Day and you have lived there, she's at where she's gonna be at. Unfortunately,
yeah, she's always gonna be second fiddle to Liv if she's in the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So we'll put Liv, Roxanne, and then Raquel in mid card. That seems about right. We'll put you ahead of Dark State, at least Judgment Day. Don't worry, we'll be back. Then we got down here, we got Julia. Oh,
sure, deserves better.
Oh,
yeah, like
oh god,
you hear like our reaction too. It was like, damn.
Oh man, she started off the year. She wins the NXT Women's Championship at New Year's Evil. She only holds the title for 2 months. She was part of that very good 4-way at Vengeance Day. And then she loses the title to Stephanie Vicaire at Roadblock. She was a part of another good 4-way at Stand and Deliver with Jada Parker, Stephanie Vicaire, and Jordan Grace. She had that banger matchup on NXT TV. One of my favorite TV matches from WWE this year was Julia versus Jordan Grace, when they were just dropping each other on their heads, thinking that they were Joshi wrestlers in Japan. That was great. After that, she gets called up to the main roster. She's involved in this pseudo type of alliance with Roxanne Perez, where they were feuding with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky for a couple of weeks. Then she gets moved to SmackDown. She eventually wins the WWE Women's United States Championship in an actual good matchup against Zelina Vega, the only good matchup Zelina Vega had all year. Then she eventually holds that title for a number of months, doing absolutely jack and shit. She gets aligned with Kiana James, and it just makes her into like a side player for the large mart. And then she loses the title in 2 minutes to Chelsea Green. Oh my god, they've ruined Julia. And then she got absolute silence the last matchup that she had on SmackDown. It's sad.
Yeah, it's Julia. I don't know how much time you got left, but you're gonna have to get out of there, sis. When your contract is up, you're gonna have to get out of there.
We gotta get you out of there. Gunther, the ring general. So Gunther started off the year world heavyweight champion. He's had a weird year. This is like weird just thinking about it. Starts off the year world heavyweight champion. He gets in, he beats Jey Uso the week before Royal Rumble at Saturday Night's main event in a great matchup. Then Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble. He starts his rivalry with Jey Uso, attacks him, leading to Jey picking him for WrestleMania. And then it starts a long program where Jey Uso doesn't know how to wrestle and that he's a weak link. And we get the great angle where Gunther chokes out and bloodies Jimmy Uso in front of a handcuffed Jey Uso in London, which sets the stage for WrestleMania between the two men. They kick off the show in a fairly decent matchup, I guess you could say, where Jey taps out Gunther with his own finishing move, the sleeper. Then the next night, they do the great angle with Pat McAfee where he lays him out, chokes him out. But then they do a 50-50 matchup at Backlash. But then after that victory, he shakes hands with Pat McAfee for some reason. But after that, he challenges Jey Uso. He beats him on the Raw after Money in the Bank, winning back the World Heavyweight Championship. He goes on to retire Goldberg in his final matchup on Saturday night's main event. But then he loses to CM Punk in another banger matchup in the main event of SummerSlam Night 1. He suffers a nose injury and he's out for a number of months, but he comes back in time for the Last Time Is Now tournament, where he puts on banger after banger after banger after banger, putting over Javon Evans and making him look like a star in defeat in the first round. Then had a great underdog babyface story with Carmelo Hayes before giving Solo Sikoa the best match of his damn career, and then delivering a great matchup against LA Knight before putting on one of the best WWE matches of the year, in my opinion, against John Cena in his final matchup, making Cena tap out for the first time in 20 years. So he ends the year very strong, much stronger than how he started the year. Where we putting Gunther?
Gunther, whew, I might have to say moment maker, because you have a guy that, even though I think, obviously the stuff with Jey Uso happened, him losing to Jey Uso, as bad as that was, not only that's bad, but it was like he tapped out pretty quick. He got his lick back. He got his win back. Then he had the great match with CM Punk. But before that, he retired Goldberg. He retired Goldberg. He retires John Cena. I mean, for a guy, I mean, hey, like, Gunther's Gunther, and I do believe that he is important to a company like this, regardless of him, like him not being what other guys are, like character wise. He doesn't need to be. He's just a badass on his own. So I think he tells a story within itself. But those moments, I mean, retiring Goldberg, retiring Cena, then he had to heat the following night. I mean, the 2 nights after. But we also know what they could get. It's just a matter of, like when I was asked that question, do you think he could be like those type of top tier guys? He could be if the company wants him to be. If that's what the company wants themselves, and I think he could be. But we'll wait and see what happens. But I think he's up there.
I have to agree with you. Gunther had a great end of the year, and he's had a very good year throughout, borderline great year throughout. So definitely deserves to be on that second tier with the rest of the cast of characters that we got there right now. And through the magic of editing, we have done some work. We've done some work in between things, guys. So we added a whole bunch of names from the bottom to make our work for the rest of the video a little bit shorter, a little bit faster. So we put The New Day and DIY in Deserves Better with the rest of the tag teams. We're now up to 7 tag teams in Deserves Better. The New Day, though, the New Day is probably one of the bigger examples of Deserve Better in 2025. From their heel turn to winning the World Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania, not really defending them or not in any important programs before dropping them in June. Then they were doing the whole grieving of losing the titles and feuding with Penta over a hat. And now they end the year losing to like the Usos, and they're on the outside looking in for the World Tag Team title scene. It's embarrassing how bad they fumbled that heel turn.
Yeah, I've been saying that for with New Day, and it's kind of crazy because when New Day is on camera, it's not like they get bad segments. They're still entertaining. They still make you laugh, especially Xavier Woods with Xavier leaning into like the heel stuff, like even on social media, like what you see on social media, you get on TV. But then it's like nothing else happens. You had that big moment at the heel turn, where it was like, oh my God, this is one of the biggest heel turns of the year last year. And then he never capitalized on what that should have been.
Nope, not at all. So yeah, deserves better for both of those teams. Then we had mid card. We put Hank and Tank for winning the tag team championships in NXT, as well as Pro Wrestling Noah, the GAC heavyweight tag team championships there. We got Izzy Dame, who was a part of that good program with Tatum Paxley, turning on her and helping her win the NXT Women's Championship before costing her the title. Jada Parker, who was very popular throughout the year, but never really got like a big push in the NXT Women's division. Jasper Troy, who won LFG Season 1 and then has gone on to become the WWE Speed Champion. Josh Briggs, who has been a part of some really good to great matches on NXT and is one of the more hated individuals on the NXT roster. Callie Armstrong, who won the WWE Evolve Women's Championship and is viewed by reports by management as a future WrestleMania headliner. Miles Bourne, who left NQCC, got an opportunity at the NXT Championship and just headlined Deadline as part of the Iron Survivor. Then we moved down to mid, and we've added quite a few names to the mid section, as we call it here. We got Grayson Waller and Tate Wilder. I think we talked about them, and Laney Reed, but we put the Cullings, Sean Spears, and Nico Vance in mid. GDC from TNA and the System, we put him here as well. Keanu Carver from Evolve, Nikita Lyons, who is now in Evolve, Lexis King, who is in NXT and TNA, Natty Neidhart, who is everywhere basically. She's supposed to be on Raw. She's been on NWA. She's been on GCW, Bloodsport. She's been in AAA as of late, and she's even been in a vignette on Monday Night Raw. Otis as a part of the Alpha Academy. So we'll put Otis up here with his Alpha Academy teammate, Akira Tozawa. Then we got PJ Fossa, who came up short in the final of LFG Season 2. We got WWE ID's own Sean Legacy, who looks like he's going to be the number one contender for the Evolve Men's Championship. Shiloh Hill, who won Season 2 of LFG for the men. LFG Season 2 women's winner, Skylar Ray. We got Shinsuke Nakamura, Tavion Heights, Tyra May Steele, who won LFG Season 1 this year. Uriah Connors as part of Chase U. So we'll put him with the rest of Chase U over here. I think Kyle Dixon will find him as well. Kyle Dixon, yeah, he's over here. Who can go with the rest of Chase U over here. We got Ren Sinclair of NQCC. We got Wendy Chu, Tyson Dupont, and Tyree Iwe. High Rise, Laredo Kid of AAA, La Parca AAA, Psycho Clown of AAA, who's one half of the AAA Tag Team Champion. So sorry for putting you here. Octagon Jr. and The Miz, all in mid. Then we got our non-wrestlers. We only added one name to that being Santino Marella. To Do You Work Here? We added quite a few names to this one. We put Kit Wilson, who's been away from television for a while, Santos Escobar, Serena Linton, Tatiana Dumas, and Zena Sterling, all three of those final ones from LFG. Niggas Not Here or Always Hurt. We put quite a few here as well. We put Kevin Owens, Trill London, Piper Niven, Sheamus, Ash by Elegance, Zoe Starks, Yoshihiki Inamura, who has had a great year winning the GAC Heavyweight Championship, but not here as far as to WWE, and Elijah, who was out for most of the year from TNA. And then contract not renewed, we added we added Ridge Holland, Shayna Baszler, and Valhalla to that one. So then we go back to the list. Ilya Dragunov, who wasn't here for most of the year, but goddamn has he made an impact since he's been back. He came back in October, won the United States Championship, been doing the US Open Challenge since then. I think because of how great he's been since he's been back, he is like mid-card, maybe all-star, in my opinion.
I would say, to be honest, I would say all-star. Just because, like, you know when Dragunov, you know what you're getting out of him. You know you're gonna get a great match, and you know that's what he is. He's in the same cloth as Gunther, as in you have guys who are just like they're not gonna show like their range character wise because that's not what they are. They're gonna show their range with the in ring stuff. And the fact that you had Sami Zayn do like the United States open challenge, and then they had Dragunov continue that. Which was I thought it was a great move. Like if you're gonna have Sammy drop the title for it to continue, Dragunov was the right person. Even though he was out for most of the year because of the torn knee. I think you kind of see how important he is, especially for SmackDown. With SmackDown, there's not a lot of positive in SmackDown. But when you know there's a Dragunov match, it's like, oh shit, I gotta tune in for that.
True. Yeah, that's true. Io Sky. I think she's top 2. Where do you think we put in Io Sky for this year?
I think she's number 2, honestly.
Yeah, I think that she would have been like a number top 1 if she didn't have that 2-month break after she won the WWE Women's World Championship that Triple H always does. He always gives his Women's World Champions like a month or more off of television when she's the best wrestler in the world. She put on great matches time in, time out, whether in tag team action or in singles. She had those great tag team matches with Kyrie earlier in the year against Raquel and Liv and against Bianca and Naomi. Then she had the banger with Rhea Ripley where she won the Women's World Championship. Then a match of the year candidate against Rhea and Bianca at WrestleMania. She had had some great matches as the Women's World Champion against Rhea Ripley at Evolution before Naomi cashed in. Then her and Rhea teaming up later part of the year where they feuding with the Kabuki Warriors. She was a part of the Women's War Games, had the best spot in that matchup. I think like if she had a stronger close to the year in regards to like winning some more gold or didn't have the 2-month gap in like the early summer that she was off and still the champion, I think she's going to be in the top tier, but definitely deserves to be in moment makers.
Yeah, and I'll also say because like even the reign itself when she got the title back from Rhea, what I was afraid of was that oh god, she's going to be a placeholder. That's what I was afraid of. And then thankfully she did win the match and they did continue it, but then even with that, she didn't have that many defenses when it comes to the title itself, and they should have because I'm like enough to do that with, like she like you mentioned, she's one of the best performers in ring in the world, not just men, women. She's in that category with everybody. And the fact that you don't use her to her strengths, that was like a little, that's always weird. But I felt like this year we know, like me and you, we kind of know what EO is, but I felt like a bigger audience got to see who she really is more this year, where it was like, oh, this is the EO that they signed years ago. This is what we wanted.
All right, we're gonna do some rapid fire. The next 2 rows, we're gonna do rapid fire. I'm just gonna say the name. You tell me the tier. Jacob Fatu.
Jacob Fatu.
Won the U.S. Championship, had the feud with Solo Sikoa after turning on him very memorably at Money in the Bank. Then he would feud with him for the next couple of months, had that awful matchup at SummerSlam inside the steel cage. He looked like he was on the cusp of the main event scene before he had the dental surgery that has kept him out of action since October.
Jacob is either, I would say maybe All-Star. All-Star deserves better between those two.
Oh, I can't say deserves better because there wasn't like anything hurting him, but I think All-Star, that's fair. All-Star winning the U.S. title, he was a part of a main storyline throughout the year, so yeah, All-Star bottom of All-Star seems accurate for Jacob Fatu. Jade Cargill, where are we putting her?
Jade Cargill, I would say All-Star.
Yeah, she won the WWE Women's Championship on the November 1st Saturday night's main event. She won the Queen of the Ring this year. Like those 2 accolades alone should put her in the upper echelon of the women on the women's scene, which the All-Star portion is just like it's like 90% women at this point. Yep, it is. It really is. We only got like 4 guys in All Star right now.
So it says a lot. And it says a
It
lot
says
about
a
the
lot.
women's division. It says
Yeah.
a lot.
What was it? I said it when I said on the flagship podcast a couple of weeks ago. I was like, the women's division held down 2025 for this goddamn company. Meechin, you're going to mid. Same with who else? Who else is Lola Vice? I'm sorry, you might be going to mid too. Who
It's like they use
else?
her as like an act more than like in ring.
Yeah, R-Truth. That's the saddest mid of them all.
Oh.
No, deserves better. We got to play R-Truth and deserves better. Cause come on, man, you had Gold come to you. You re-signed Gold and then just said, you know what? We didn't really want this.
Like, you know what? See the turn back face. Guess what? We're gonna turn R-Truth. You get your name back.
You get your name back. So Meechin, Lola Vice, you'll go into mid. Unfortunately, both women are talented, but they just don't get any type of push. And then R-Truth, you will head up here to deserves better, which any other year R-Truth would have his place in mid, but the fact that they let him go in June, gets him back because the fans want him back, and then proceed to give him this great promo and angle, he shaves off his head, and then just said, you know what, a few weeks later, we didn't really want to do that. Fuck it.
It's like, never mind.
Never mind. You know what? Never mind. Forget all of that. Forget all. It was like they tried to give us the Men in Black pen right before our eyes. The Hardys. Where are we putting the Hardys?
Ooh, the Hardys. The Hardys. I'm gonna have to say they either all-star or moment makers because man,
I'm saying moment makers. Like
yeah,
as far as
moment makers
kayfabe goes, like they might be the best tag team in regards to kayfabe of the year. 2 reigns with the TNA World Tag Team Championships, NXT Tag Team Champions. They were the main draw for TNA. Like, yeah.
It got it. Yeah, they're definitely up to because again, like you might not be in favor of their matches itself, but it's the fact of the amount of work they've been putting in. It's like when we mentioned, like they're supposed to be on the downside of their careers. Now they're more busy than ever.
Yes. Tag team champions in House of Glory and Fourth Rope. They're on the independent scenes. They're on TNA, on WWE. Like, yeah, you got to give the Hardys. They deserve to be in that second tier. Then we got next up, Josh. We got Javon Evans. Where are we putting Javon?
Oh, Javon Evans. And this is another interesting one too, because it's like I want to say all-star because he puts out bangers. Saying he's been putting out bangers. But then it's like kid needs to have a title. When it was North America, he needs to have something. And it feels like they every time they get there, it's like they kind of like I don't know, is it cold feet? I don't know what it is. But it's like every opportunity
I kind of feel he's deserved better.
Yeah. Because it's like he's being used, but it's the fact that it was like, like even when he won that gauntlet, that should have been Near's Evil. And then like, oh no, let's forward it because we're gonna use that as an angle. It's cool, like it's cool that Ricky Saints turned heel, but I'm like, come on, get the kid some shine. He needs it.
Give the kid a freaking break. Like he's 0-12 in title matches now. Like that's ridiculous. Jey Uso, and we got Jimmy Uso right next to him, so we're not going to put them on the same tier. But Jey Uso, where are we putting him?
Oh man, Jey Uso. The kind of year that he's had, he
won the Royal Rumble, won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania.
He's got to be All-Star. I think probably All-Star.
Yeah.
Regardless of what people want to say about Jey Uso, I mean, he got some accolades under his belt in 2025, regardless of what people want to say.
Yeah. Jimmy, I think you might stay in mid. I don't know about what you think.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to put him higher because he got Naomi pregnant, maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah, he's earned his spot. For getting Naomi's pregnant, he gets the spot in mid. And he was a part of the main event of Survivor Series. He was in the War Games match. So we'll get him mid. We'll give him mid card. We'll give him mid card off of his bloodline.
That's true.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Where are you putting Joe?
Maybe mid card, either mid card or all star, but I think mid card.
Mid-card, it seems accurate for Joe Hendry. Started off the year TNA World Champion, being Nick Nemeth at Genesis. Had the big moment at Royal Rumble, WrestleMania debut. He appeared at John Cena's final matchup. Lost the TNA World Championship to Trick Williams in May. Was a part of the main event of Slammiversary. Signs with WWE by the end of the year. So yeah, mid-card seems right for Joe. Then you got here Jordan Grace. Deserves better.
Absolutely. No debate.
Deserves fucking better. How did you sign her? She was like the premier signing for the NXT Women's Division at Vengeance Day. Gave her the introduction at the main event of Vengeance Day, and then just proceeded to not push her the rest of the fucking year. Unbelievable.
She had more. She had more momentum coming in as a TNA Women's Champion when they showed it the very first time than she does now. That's crazy to me.
Yes. That is kind of crazy. Then we got Kalani Jordan, who's been feuding with Jordan Grace as of late. So Kalani, mid card.
I would say mid card.
Yeah, Kalani, she's good. She's good for what she did. She had a heel turn. She won the TNA Knockouts World Championship this year as well. So she has some accolades under her belt. Mid card seems about right for Kalani. Then we got Kiana James, you're mid. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? You're just a manager. I want to put you in non-wrestler, but you actually have been wrestling. But yeah, you're mid. Kendall Gray, who has really taken the world by storm as of late the last few months. He won the WWE Evolve Women's Championship from Callie Armstrong at Secession, then has gone on to really take NXT by storm. She's become the hottest new star of the NXT Women's Division, winning the Iron Survivor at Deadline, and now she's the number one contender to face JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship coming up at New Year's Evil. Where are we putting Kendall Gray?
I would say high mid card or a low all star. I think she's in that good spot where she's like being used and she's on the rise.
Yes, I would say high. Yeah, high mid card is best. I would put her above everybody. Yeah, everybody in mid card, I think she's better than everybody, or has more momentum than everybody else in mid.
Her trajectory is going up compared to other people, so it's like.
Then we got here LA Knight. Deserves better. The deserves betters are like the most obvious ones. Like every time we mention somebody that we're gonna put deserves better, it's like automatic. We say their name and it's like deserves better.
Yeah, it's like no question.
No question, this person deserves way better than what they got. And he started off the year, he won the U.S. Championship back in March, I believe, and then only held it for about a month before dropping it to Jacob Fatu. But he finally got into like the main event picture over on Monday Night Raw, but he beat Seth Rollins at Saturday Night's main event. Seemed like he was teasing a feud with CM Punk, but he's always just been pushed aside. Wasn't even a part of the War Games matchup, despite feuding with the Vision for the whole majority of the year, like everybody else that was in the matchup. Yeah, LA Knight deserves better. All right, going back down here, we got a few more names. Lash Legend. Where are you putting her?
Oh, Lash is a good one. I would say maybe mid card. Card. But she's also kind of another one. Like if they use her right, she has her thing should be, her stock should be going up because man, she's really improved. Like she was somebody I was really down on, honestly. But man, they've been using her strengths very well. She even beats up men. Like she's really good.
Yeah, she's definitely on the rise. I would put her right next to Kendall at the top of mid card. Like, yeah. She feels like someone that could get pushed to the world title scene in the new year.
Yeah.
Leon Slater, all-star.
Ooh, all-star. Like, no question. That kid is special, man. He's gonna get a contract somewhere. He's gonna get a big contract, man. It's gonna be deserving. He's been putting in a lot of work. He just has to be careful, because that knee thing kind of did scare me. So he just has to obviously when he gets older, he'll be more mindful. But this kid, he's something special.
Something very special. The breakout star for TNA in 2025 for sure. Lyra Valkyria. She started off the year very hot, winning the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship, won the tag team titles at the same time, was a double champion at WrestleMania, gets turned on by Becky, puts on one of the best feuds of the year with Becky Lynch, elevating the Intercontinental Championship in the process. Second half of the year, not so much after that loss to Becky at SummerSlam, with her and Bayley kind of in the tag team scene, kind of not. She's involved with the split personality thing that gets dropped and then brought back. Now she's kind of in control of the split personalities of Bayley, but I say mid-card for Lyra. What do you think?
I would say, I would say mid-card. They do use her strengths as being an in-ring performer very well. It's just when she talks sometimes, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, the Becky Stompers. That promo, man, that's one of the worst of the year, I gotta say. Maxine Dupree, who won the Intercontinental Championship in November. So she's ended the year off strong. Where do you think she goes?
I would say mid-card.
Yeah. She would definitely be mid if she didn't win the Intercontinental title.
Oh yeah. Without that, because it's obviously, I've been saying has she improved? Yeah. Has it been a big improvement? No. But the fact that you give her a title, obviously the expectations are a lot higher once you get that. So it's yeah. But mid-card is good for her.
Mike Santana.
Ooh.
Where are we putting him?
I can't be biased on this one. It's either between All-Star or Moment Maker because he is that for TNA, in my opinion. And then he impressed a lot of the WWE executives who never seen him. And once they started showing him, they're like, oh, this guy's really good. So he did raise his stock, and then obviously he did win the title, Bound for Glory. He had the nice moment with his daughter. But I do feel like this is the guy that TNA needs to have for at least another year, in my opinion, to have any type of momentum. So I would say either All-Star, maybe the second tier, but I think All-Star is a good spot.
I think All-Star, I put him right at the bottom of All-Star because he could easily be at the top of Deserves Better for that TNA World Title run.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's fair, too. That is fair, too. Yeah. He makes a stock, so I'm happy with him. He's going to get a contract somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Moose, who was X Division champion for the first half of the year before dropping it to Leon Slater at Slammiversary in the match of the night. And then he turned babyface, and he's been a very good babyface as the leader of the system throughout. And he's gotten a bunch of appearances on NXT. He had that banger of a matchup with Obafemi at Roadblock. Where we put Moose?
I'm gonna say Moose. I think he's another case of All-Star. Just because, Moose, he's a strong performer. Depending on who you put him with, he's always going to give a good performance. He's one of those guys that, I certainly enjoy watching. I think he's really improved if you take out all the personal stuff aside. But I think he is important. He's another guy who's still important for TNA. He's been important for TNA for years. I think he's still that kind of guy that he's still important for that brand.
Then we got Naomi, who, of course, ends off the year being pregnant. Congratulations to her and Jimmy Uso. But she won the WWE Women's World Championship, Money in the Bank winner, had one of the best heel turns and heel runs of anyone in the company. Where is Naomi going?
Naomi, I actually want to put her either All-Star, or I want to put her in the Moment thing because she's had some big moments this year. If you really think about it, she won Money in the Bank.
The promo, the crying promo when she turned heel, she's a moment maker. Oh man, she's a moment maker.
because like if you talk about like her stuff, they're more about moments than more than anything. But those were important moments. Like you mentioned that promo, you mentioned the Money in the Bank winner because nobody expected her to win, and then she won, and then the cash in itself. Remember the cash in itself. It was a good match between Rhea and Io, and then Naomi added to that, which it didn't even take away from that. It was like holy shit, Naomi won the title, and then we had the announcement that she was pregnant. So it was like all those are moments if you think about it. And then she wrestled pregnant at SummerSlam.
Yes, and won with her father performing her down to the ring. Like, oh man, now this year was a moment for Naomi. She deserves that. Nia Jax mid card. Yeah, she was WWE Women's Champion to start off the year. Had a freaking a million matches against Tiffany Stratton to the point of annoyance. And now she ends the year with Lash Legend in the tag team division, where they got a non-title win over the tag team champions, and she was in the Women's War Game. So, yeah, mid-card seems about right for for Nia Jax. Nikki Bella. Mid.
Yeah. It's just a lot of bad matches with Nikki Bella. So
Yeah.
a lot of bad promos, a lot of bad matches. It's not a lot of good with Nikki. And I want to be forgivable with Nikki because again, I met Nikki and she's super sweet. She's super nice, but I just got called like it is.
Fair enough. Oba Femi.
Oh man, that
moment maker.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that gotta be moment maker. I was about to say WrestleMania, but like that's just me being like, you know what? Sure,
I wouldn't be mad at you. I wouldn't be mad at you because man, he held the NXT championship from winning it at New Year's Evil to dropping it to Ricky Saints at No Mercy, then wins it right back 3 months later at Deadline, and then he has that big moment with Cody Rhodes on the main roster, that great promo, and then the match at Saturday night's main event. Like, I think if he never loses the NXT championship, then yeah, I would say I would be right there with you saying WrestleMania headliner. But because he had that little break, moment maker.
Yeah, I think it's fair because like they got something there special with that guy. Like, man, his presence. Once you saw it on TV, I was like, man, they got something here. But Triple H is going to Triple K. Triple K going Triple K. So you never know.
Just do my dance. I love his dance. Best entrance walk ever. Loved it. All right, we're down to the nitty gritty here. D-Generation X. How did Shawn Michaels and Triple H do as bookers this year?
Oh my god,
Shawn. We just put them as freaking non-wrestlers. We could do that. We just put them there. We'll just put them there. But Shawn had a better year than Triple H as a booker, I will say.
Yeah, I would say by default, just because NXT, they do have their own problems. Even with the TNA partnership, I think NXT, in my opinion, kind of lost its identity ever since the partnership. But such HBK's credit, I do feel like he's more like he sees the talent there. Like he sees like Javon Evans, like he sees how good the kid is. He sees how good like certain people are, like Oba Femi. I feel like he has more of an eye for talent than like Triple H when it comes to what he could control. So I'll give HBK more credit when it comes to Triple H. I don't gotta go around the road to Triple H. We spoken about that enough with that guy.
Yeah,
not a good year.
Not a good year. Then we got next Penta and Phoenix. Where are we putting them?
Probably mid card.
Yeah, that seems about right. I think Penta would make a case for deserves better because like the way he came in, you would think that he would have been champion by now.
I would say, yeah. I mean, honestly, you could make a case, but for me, it was like I kind of knew what they were going to go with him with. Like, you know, obviously it was a signing to get him away from AEW. As far as the singles push, I didn't see anything significant, but he did put on some good matches. It wasn't like he was bad. He was putting on really good matches. But as far as like somebody who's going to sell merch and like, hey, let's go out there and have a good match with somebody. I think that's as much as you're going to get with Penta. But deserves better for the type of talent he is. Yes, same thing with Phoenix. Technically, Phoenix does deserve better because he's probably
we'll
better.
put them as another tag team in this deserve better.
because Phoenix, I mean, see, Phoenix in comparison might be Penta, and we have not seen that Ray Phoenix like that. You know, that singles run Ray Phoenix that we're like, yo, this dude is one of the best in the fucking world. We have not seen that from him.
True. It's very true. Then we got here our final few: Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio to appear a WWE Hall of Famer and a future Hall of Famer. Where are we putting them?
I mean, Randy Orton hasn't even been around. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Ray. I'm gonna put Ray and Nigga wasn't here for most of the year, and then Randy. Yeah, Randy. He's missed a lot of the year. Yeah, he's been here, but I would say like Randy deserves better because he should have done. They should have been done with this Cody feud. We shouldn't be still having fans being like, "Oh, they're gonna do the Cody feud now. They're gonna feud the Cody feud then." Like I've been hearing fans think that the Cody feud is gonna happen 47 different times that it didn't happen.
Yeah, and even now, so it's like it's gotten to a point where it's like, no, I don't want that feud for WrestleMania. So it's like they're just gonna prolong that.
Because now Roman's taking that spot, so now he's gonna wait even longer. Rhea Ripley, where are we putting her?
I would say probably All-Star for the kind of year that she's gotten. Rhea's still over with the crowd, and Rhea has some good, you know, obviously the WrestleMania opener. That was a great match, but if you really look at it, she's had a weird year too, where it was like, you know, she drops the title. They put her in this kind of feud where she's like, all she does is complain. You know, she never got the title back. She kept losing the big matches. And then now it's like she comes out for a pop. But right now it's like, I don't know what direction to go with her because it's kind of, she's in a weird spot. Again, the crowd is still crazy behind her. Like she has that in her pocket. But besides that, it's like she's not having the year that we thought, you know, like last year when she was the champion, when she finally won at WrestleMania last year. It was like, oh shit, like this is a fucking badass superstar we got here. I haven't gotten that, especially in the last few months from Rhea.
Yeah, they've shifted her to the tag team scene. We'll see if that improves in 2026, but yeah, it was a step down from her 2024. Then we got Ricky Saints. Where are we picking Ricky? Big All-Star?
I would say All-Star.
All-Star for Ricky. What about Tony D'Angelo?
Tony D. I mean, the thing is, like, he just got back himself.
Yeah, he was out. Yeah, nigga wasn't here for like 5 months. So we'll put him. Nigga wasn't here. Ricky Saints will move him up to All-Star, but hell of a start to his WWE career, winning the North American Championship and then the NXT Championship, all within his first 12 months of working in WWE. That's a lot.
It's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah, he's really hit the ground running.
He had the great matches with Ethan Page. He had a great match with Obafemi. You know, so he's had really good performances. He had a good match with Trick Williams. The matches that he had with Trick Williams were really good. So he's had a good year. Like, you know.
Yep. But yes, we got to put Ricky at All-Star there. Then we got next up, we got Rusev, your favorite mid.
Mid as fuck, losing the Dom how many times?
I knew you was ready for that. I knew you was ready for that.
I was holding that in my soul.
mid for Rusev. Then we got he came back in April, had a feud with Sheamus. That's about it, and then lost to Dom a whole bunch of times, and now he's been off TV ever since. Sami Zayn, the U.S. title run makes him an all-star.
All-star. I would say, yeah.
The U.S. title run is really the difference maker for him.
Yeah, when it comes to work rate, he's had a really solid year. I think honestly, the last 2 years, he's been showcasing his wrestling again. Before it was more of the character, but then the last 2 years, he's really been showcasing like, hey, I'm still one of the best in the world if you really need me to be. And he's really shown that in that aspect. Obviously, I would love for him to be a heavyweight champion, but we'll see that ever happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Seth Rollins,
moment maker.
I would say WrestleMania headliner. If he doesn't get injured, like he had the banger matches with Punk on Netflix, the Netflix premiere, and then the Steel Cage matchup, match of the year candidate with Punk and Roman at WrestleMania. He creates the vision with Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Then he wins the Money in the Bank, wins the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. At SummerSlam. That's one of the biggest moments of the year. Then he beats Cody at Crown Jewel. He was a part of that big mixed tag team matchup at WrestlePalooza, aligns with Becky Lynch. But the heel work, he just got stuck in trying to still be babyface Seth when he's supposed to be the heel, because he's thinking, I don't want to switch it up too much, but he should have switched it up a lot much, and that would have made him even better. But as far as accolades and push, Seth is up there with Punk and Cody for the year.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say, especially this year. Because honestly, even with all that stuff where he was trying to be babyface, it was still better than his 2019 run. And that aspect, it was still better than that. And they did make him feel important. He had one of the biggest moments from WrestleMania. He had some great matches. It's just unfortunate he got injured, but yeah, Seth Rollins put it into work. Every time you put him out there, man, he puts in the work. So that's fair.
And then I just moved Sol Ruka up with him. I put her in All-Star. I think she's had an All-Star year for sure, winning the Women's North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. She won the WWE Speed Champion. She was the double champion for longer than anybody else outside of Dom this year. And she got the big push at the John Cena's final matchup, beating Bayley.
Yeah, it's good for her. I felt like that's probably going to do something for her, the Cena last match performance.
So now we got Stephanie Vicaire, and then we got the MFTs. Where are we putting Stephanie Vicaire? Moment maker?
I'm going to say moment maker for herself, because obviously the world title run, it's not what I expected it to be, but that's more creative. They really just giving her shit. So that's not really in her control. But every time she goes out there, man, her presence, she don't even got to speak. You see the presence on her own. They got, again, she signed there, and they got something there. She's basically what they thought Julia would be. So
yeah. She won the Women's North American Championship in February, won the NXT Women's Championship in March. She held on to that title until May. She gets called up to the main roster. By September, she's the WWE Women's World Champion. And then by October, she was the WWE Women's Crown Jewel Championship. She won 4 titles this year. That's a moment maker. That's borderline WrestleMania headliner.
Borderline. If it wasn't for the shitty feuds that they're giving her, she probably would have been WrestleMania.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the great matches that she had with IYO and on NXT with Julia and stuff. She always delivers when she's in the ring. They just really haven't pushed her that well on the main roster. Now we got the MFTs. Where are we going?
MFTs. I kind of want to say mid card for them.
I would say mid card for Solo especially winning the US championship, being the leader of the group. Everybody else though, mid.
No, that's fair. That's 100% fair because Solo has really turned it around for himself. Like, he's leaning into being more funny, being himself. And his matches are not like the worst, honestly. Like, they're not the worst. It's not like obviously that SummerSlam one was a stinker, the cage match, but he's not like, he had the great match with Gunther, and I felt like he leaned into his character even with that match. But everybody else is like, fucking, you talk about Jeff Cobb, Jesus Christ, like that guy.
Sad state, man. Hikuleo, Jeff Cobb, just being used like trash. Like, what are we doing? Why did you even sign them, WWE?
You have to come back with the face paint. And people are like, "Oh my God, Thomas come back with the face paint," and then it's like, then you're stuck in a feud with the Wyatt Six. Okay, cool.
Great job, guys. Tatum Paxley, Thea Hale. I would put them in the same book because they both won their first titles since really after being kind of lower card girls on the NXT women's scene. Tatum Paxley won the NXT Women's Championship at Halloween Havoc. She's in a feud with Izzy Dame, her former friend right now, while Thea Hale won the Women's North American Championship by accident. Where are we putting them?
Maybe mid-card, I would say. Maybe.
That seems about right.
Because Thea Hale, I mean, there's a lot of people that like her. I mean, I find her more annoying than anything, but that's just more because what her gimmick is. She's just like a fucking hyper teenager. But there obviously people are behind her. People want her to win because she's very likable. So for her to win the title that she won is cool, but then it was like, oh, she won it on a botch. So there's kind of like a bittersweet kind of feeling about it, but she got the title right now. It's probably gonna just change right away, but still.
Yeah. All right, Trish Stratus, you were not here for most of the year, so we'll just put you in. Nigga wasn't here. Then we got Tiffany Stratton and Trick Williams. Trick Williams, of course, started off the year as NXT champion. He lost it at New Year's Evil. He was a part of that great triple threat as Stand and Deliver. He's always been in the main event picture for NXT. Then he went on to win the TNA World Championship, and I really felt like it brought out a new side of himself, showing that he could play a top heel at the same time. Last year showed he could be the top babyface. This year he really came into his own on the mic, being the top heel for TNA, dropping the title eventually at Bound for Glory to Mike Santana. Tiffany Stratton cashed in Money in the Bank in January to become the WWE Women's Champion, held the title for majority of the year before dropping it to Jade Cargill in November, and she's been out of action since then. So I think both of them all-star.
I would say
I think Trick is borderline is moment maker. I will say more than Tiffy. Tiffy is held back because she didn't have a great deal of great matches or storylines as champion, despite being champion for most of the year.
Yeah, and for Trick, there's a good argument for Trick on moment maker because I mean he was carrying two companies. There was a point of time where when he was TNA champion, he felt more important than Obafemi. Like, I just got called what it is. So I think he's probably maybe lower moment maker just because of we're talking about what he did for NXT, what he did for TNA to an extent. I mean, you can't. There's not really much to argue about when it comes to Trick Williams.
True. Yeah, Trick has to be in that moment maker status. Like, he just seems, and I'm glad we got the reports that he's being talked about internally being on SmackDown because he's been ready for the main roster for a year.
It's like, yo, he's an 8th year senior. It's like, might as well.
Zarya mid-card?
Mid-card. I want more for Zarya because they made her a big.
Honestly, Zarya deserves better. Deserves better.
She, like, remind you when they signed them, like, she was like the top. Remember the big three? They were like, oh, we're getting Stephanie, we're getting Julia, we're getting Zarya, and you look where Zarya's at now compared to the other two. It's like, oh boy,
yeah, she deserves better. And then let's go back down here. Who we had next here? Next was Frankie Kazarian, the current TNA World Champion.
Kazarian, I would say maybe All-Star for his status of TNA. We're talking about TNA itself. He did play a
top
important
mid
role.
card.
Yeah, or probably top mid card, I would say, because he did play an important role. And then, he did become champion for better or worse. Wins his first TNA World Championship, but I would say either very low All-Star or top mid card because of that.
Yeah, I'd say top of mid card. I can't say he's an all-star. He didn't do anything
right.
really.
Yeah, it's just like for TNA standards, but it's
Yeah. Then we got the Inspiration. Where are we putting them? The current TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions.
Inspiration, maybe mid card, same thing, mid card, or I would say.
Yeah. Same with the TNA Knockouts World Champion, Lei Ying Li.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because she hasn't really done much, but
Yeah, she was a good signing for TNA. I'll give them that. That was a good signing for them.
They need a veteran.
Someone who
like that.
Yeah, someone who got a look at WWE but didn't get too exposed in WWE, so they kind of can still make her into someone that is recognizable as a TNA person. Yeah,
that's good. I would say that's fair.
So we'll put all the Knockouts champions in mid card here. Then we got our final few. We've made it to the end, guys. Matt Cardona, who has recently made his return to officially WWE programming as part of the Last Time Is Now tournament. He's gotten a few looks in NXT. Of course, he's been a prominent part of TNA despite not being assigned talent. Do you work here? I don't know if he works in TNA. I don't know if he works in WWE. I don't know. He
don't got contracts with none of them. He don't got contracts with TNA either. So it's technically, I would say, do you work here?
Mustafa Ali.
Ooh, I think
Mustafa Ali deserves better.
Yeah, because
he should be TNA World Champion. It should not be Frankie Kazarian. It should be Mustafa Ali. The feud that he had with Mike Santana is by far, it's not even close, the feud of the year for TNA.
It's true. 100%. And I would have felt more comfortable if Mustafa Ali would have won the TNA championship over Kazarian. If you were gonna do that, I would have felt more comfortable with that than fucking Frankie Kazarian. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it would have been damn, why you did Mike Santana dirty, but hey, at least Mustafa Ali gets a run. It would have been like that.
Yes, 100%.
Then we got Zaya Brookside, who mid. Sorry. All right, yeah, she's mid. She's mid on the TNA roster, pretty mid. Now we got these fools. Wait, what did I just do? Oh no. Okay. Then we got. God damn it! Why does it keep doing the right click for me? All right. Zaya Brookside in mid, and then finally we got Dr. El Dill, Dr. Wagner Jr., and Misty Iguana.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting.
Dr. Wagner III is the Latin American champion in AAA, and Misty Iguana, of course, became the most popular guy in AAA this year.
Let's see. Dr. Wagner, maybe All-Star?
Same. I would say mid-card. Mid-card for the both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mr. Iguana, he got over out of nowhere. So mid-card is a good spot for him.
Yeah, I think Dr. Wagner Jr., if he got more looks in TNA, in NXT, maybe we can push him up there All-Star, but yeah, I think mid-card is fine. Then our final three, the three biggest names we could possibly end off with: The Rock, Roman Reigns, John Cena. The Rock, non-wrestler.
You ain't never here. You ain't never here. You showed up twice. You showed up how many times?
Not here.
He showed up 4 times this year.
Yep, he did. Roman, where are we putting him?
Roman gotta be WrestleMania.
Yeah, he made an impact despite not being full time, but he did put people over this year as well. And John Cena, obviously, WrestleMania headliner. He was the biggest star this year.
Yeah, and both are fair because John Cena, the retirement tour, like we said, if you take out how bad it was, this was like their main storyline that they had to work with was John Cena's retirement tour. So like they were really relying on that. And regardless of how we felt about everything, I mean, John Cena is going to be John Cena. And they present him that way. He got number 17. He became a Grand Slam champion. Those are accolades he needed, and he got it. So I can't argue that.
All right, and that is the tier list here. So WrestleMania headliners. How we positioning these guys? I think Cena should be at top.
Yeah.
So who's after Cena?
I would say Cena, Punk, Rollins.
Yeah.
And then between the two, I would say, I mean, because Cody did win the championship back and he was champion. Roman wasn't. By default, I will leave it at that. But I mean, Roman Reigns, his presence alone, Roman Reigns just feels important. So it's like you could argue that too, no matter what. So
yeah, it's true. All right, moment makers and merchants. We got Becky, Gunther, IYO, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Dominic Mysterio, Ethan Page, the Hardys, Naomi, Obafemi, Stephanie Vicaire, Trick Williams. How are we positioning this?
This one's a good one because I'm like maybe Gunther number 1 just because of he retired 2 legends,
and the world title and the 2 world title reigns too. Yeah,
and the 2 title reigns by default. I mean, I would say and then after that. I think this is I would say this is pretty fair because I did like IYO's thing. Dominic
Dom ahead of the Vision.
Yeah, I would say Dom ahead of the Vision because he's had a good personal year.
I put Oba behind the Vision.
Behind the Vision, and then Ethan's
then
behind
Stephanie.
him. Then
I would say Stephanie behind
Oba. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Ethan and then
Trick. I'll put Trick ahead of the Hardys.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's good.
Yeah. Then we got All Stars. Who should be at the top of All Star? I think Rhea should be at the top.
Yeah.
And I think this seems. Oh well, Jay can go up here.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, for better or worse, Royal heavyweight champion. So I mean,
despite me shitting on Tiffany, she deserves to be up top here for holding the title for the whole majority of the year. And then Jade Cargo can go ahead of Logan Paul. She could probably go ahead of all these girls too.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Leon Slater deserves to be ahead of these people too.
Yeah.
Ricky, put him ahead of Leon.
Ooh, Leon. Yep, ahead of Leon.
Mike Santana, we'll put him next to Leon.
Yep. It's actually really good.
Chelsea Green.
Oh, I think Chelsea is I think she's behind AJ.
Behind AJ? All right.
Yeah.
Sammy, we'll put Sammy next to Dragunov. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because they're kind of like 1A, 1B.
Yeah. Logan, you can get to the back because literally everybody else in this row has won a title this year except for Logan. Like literally, look at that. Look at everybody else. Everybody else won a title this year. Logan did not, so he deserves to be at the bottom.
It's true.
deserves better. Drew McIntyre, you are the poster child along with Bailey, so y'all will sit up top here. I think we did this pretty much in order already.
Honestly, yeah. I think this is a good order. Honestly,
LA Knight though, yeah. LA
LA Knight is pretty high because man, yeah.
LA Knight has to be
Talk
up
about
there.
guy who's super over. Talk about guy who's super over, and like Banjo's like, oh, we just noticed. Yeah, he got his turn. You haven't noticed the last 3 years? Like, what?
He'll get his turn. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, this seems about right. We'll put Julia ahead of the people that did not really win titles. Then we'll put Charlie behind them, and yeah, New Day deserves to be higher. We'll put New Day ahead of Fraxium.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for them.
And who is at the bottom here? We'll put Dempsey at the bottom. Everybody else seems.
Yeah.
Everybody seems like they're in the right spot. Otherwise, mid card, we kind of already did this in order, so this is fine.
Yeah.
Maybe Solo up more since he won the U.S. title.
I would say Solo is up more just because again his presence, it just feels different. Because it's not like when they come out, at least the positive part is Solo when it comes to the MFTs. It's everybody else that kind of drags him down, but he is the positive part.
Yeah, and then we said we were gonna put the Judgment Day up more, so we'll put them higher up. All right, so I think that is all we need to do. Liv's the real leader, so she'll be ahead of Finn. Mid, we don't really care about y'all, so we'll just keep y'all the way y'all are. Then non-wrestler, same thing. Do you work here? Same thing. Niggas always here. We already did that in order. Brock Lesnar is at the top of niggas not here. We'll put the Rock with you. Rock and Brock at the top.
Okay, well, I got 4 appearances. Lesnar got like 6, so I was like,
and Bianca. We'll put those three are the top stars of the niggas not here, and then contract not renewed. And there we are. There is our tier list for 2025. Josh, what do you think?
I think it's a good list, honestly, with all the time we had to go through. I think it's a fair list, especially from 2025. It's kind of crazy that there's 3 guys who are still up there: Punk, Cody, and Roman, which we've been saying for a while. Like that's their big 3. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Just because obviously when you get used, you get pushed to that extent, makes the most sense. And then, some people did have fall-offs. Rhea did drop down. Drew probably had the biggest fall-off, had the biggest drop. That was probably the biggest one, in my opinion. You went from, main event headliner to man, you deserve better. That's crazy.
That is a drop. That's a huge drop right there. But yes, we're going to post that up, that tier list, but you seen it here first, our WWE roster 2025 tier list. Always have fun going through these, and probably this is the largest one that we've ever done. So it is kind of sad that there's only that many people at the top 2.
Yeah. Well, we've been saying it in the podcast that WWE, when it comes to AEW has a lot of main eventers that you could probably rely on and you could try to push. WWE, I think they have the talent, but it's because of how they use them, it's who's going to get past Punk? Nobody. Who's going to get past Cody? Really nobody. Who's going to get past Roman? Nobody else. And that's kind of a problem. That is a problem that they're going to run into, and they're going to have to really fix that.
Indeed, we'll see what they could do in 2026, but we will post that on our social medias when we drop this. You should be watching this probably on New Year's Day, So thank you. If you're New Year's Eve, excuse me, New Year's Eve, we'll be dropping this one. So hope you enjoy this. Hope you are enjoying your final day of 2025, and I hope you join us in the new year, because we'll be live tomorrow on New Year's Day for AE Ramble, reviewing AEW Dynamite New Year Smash. So check that out. Check out our AEW World's End review, and also check out our True Hill Heat 361, which had our True Hill Heat year-end awards. But Josh, let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when they'll see you again.
You can see me again. You could follow me, JamPunk321, Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be on for the next podcast episode. I don't think I'm taking off for a while. I think maybe the middle of January I might be doing something. I don't know, but for the most part, I'll be on the following episode for the podcast.
Indeed, check all of that out, and you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSB3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best way to support us when we are not live here. And check out all the rest of our tier list for AEW roster, for the New Japan roster as well. We got our match of the year list going to be dropping, as well as men's wrestler of the year and women's wrestlers of the year, top 10. So we got top 10s for the matches, top 10s for the men's wrestlers, top 10 for the women's wrestlers, all for you to enjoy. So check out all of that when you can. And for the True Draw, Josh, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our WWE Roster 2025 tier list. We are signing off until next time.